Good evening, everybody, and welcome to round number 14 of the 2025 GPVWC Superlights season. And it is a round where destiny potentially beckons. Jose Soriano, if he finishes 11th or above, regardless of what anybody else does out there tonight, he will be crowned your 2025 GPVWC Superlights champion. But he's got a tricky test ahead of him, because tonight we head to a circuit that always produces chaos when sim racing comes to town. It is the Marina Bay Street Circuit in downtown Singapore. And boy, oh boy, here under the lights in GPVWC, it is set to be a barnstormer. You join myself, Ross McIntyre, Fabian Jungbluth on the cameras, and alongside me in the commentary box for this one is Amir Oates. Amir, pleasure to have you here with us. As I said, it could be a very historic day today. Jose Soriano looking to potentially pick up the title, but he's got to survive the chaos of the Marina Bay Street Circuit first.
Yeah, absolutely. We look back for Jose Soriano's record actually on street circuits. The best position that he's ever come was all the way back in round 1 in Melbourne when he got a podium there. But ever since then, Saudi Arabia, he did not start. And then also in Canada, he only recorded a 7th place finish there. So his track record in street circuits is a bit varied. But the big benefit that he has coming into Marina Bay at least is that Netrix car. That Netrix car seems to be very good on the front wing and rear wing downforce. And it's going to be all the more important here for Marina Bay. Again, as we've mentioned before, he's going to have to try and fight off with Norbert Jakob. Ruben Machete not going to be here today, so he's going to be scoring pointless here at Marina Bay. But Norbert Jakob really needs to win if he wants to have any chance of keeping that title fight alive. But Jose Soriano, it's a bit more easy for him, especially when you consider his track record. He's still kept a podium streak back over at the Nürburgring. If he continues to 4th into Marina Bay, then he comes here as the favourite.
Absolutely. Practice has just come to an end. Jakob was fastest at the end of that session, but we'll wait to see if that's going to translate into qualifying pace, into race pace. Again, it is advantage to Soriano. Machete, we've known for a little while now that he wasn't going to be here at Singapore. That was not a surprise at all. But then what was a surprise, unfortunately, for Machete was 2 DNFs in Hungary and Mexico, and a lowly 8th place finish at Monza as well. Form has been really tough at the last 5 races. 3 DNFs for the German. It's really been hurting him, and that's why maybe today Soriano looking to repeat history as well. Of course, Alex Laho wrapped up the title last year here when we came to Singapore, and he's looking, the Spaniard, to do the, not the double, but to make it 2 titles in Singapore on the bounce. We are just about to head into our qualifying session. You'll see the cars have disappeared in the background. They'll be coming back into your picture frame in just a short moment's time, and then it'll be a private qualifying session, as always here in GPVWC. We want to see what you are able to do. We want to see no traffic getting involved, no slipstreams or anything of that kind. It is all about just you, the car beneath you, and your own talent. So 20 seconds till the light at the end of the pit lane goes green, and we wait to see who's going to be on pole here in Singapore. 25 drivers currently in the server. Again, we'll expect that to climb up a little bit more as drivers finish off the R&D test, but we are looking at a full grid of 30 here tonight, hopefully. Green light on at the end of the pit lane here, Amir. We're going qualifying for Singapore. What does it take to be fast around here on a lap? It's a street circuit, so of course very tricky, very unforgiving, but there are some very fast sections as well.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to get as much as the track as you possibly can, and of course Singapore being a street circuit means that the walls are ever so close, so really no margin of error there. Need to be completely trusting into your car, but of course with the R&Ds that we've seen, the cars have progressed and that performance is going to be a lot different. And we're also going to see teams specializing in different areas on the track, so those that are going to be mount downforce heavy, you're going to expect them to do very well in the 1st and 2nd sectors, and those ones that maybe prioritize a bit more in acceleration, we can maybe see them be fastest on the 3rd sector. So really it is a game of cat and mouse between those 2 different philosophies here during qualifying that we're going to see here. But Netrix seems to come in here a bit more the favorite, but as you said before, Norbert Jakob the fastest in practice, and that's a good sign that he could do very well here during qualifying.
Absolutely, we know how good that True North car is as well. Maybe not quite on the level of the Netrex machinery underneath Soriano as we see him on his outlap, but it is still very, very strong indeed. And we know just how well the two True North drivers are able to work together out there on the racetrack as well. Of course, at the first part of the season, it was Jan Dragoon in the True North car before getting replaced by Lucas Murno. Murno filling up that teammate role so nicely, and Jakab and Murno just been working together supremely. Fine then. Champion potentially elect starts his opening banker lap here at the Marina Bay Street Circuit. Looks pretty tidy through the opening chicane, and you've got this awkward 90-degree mid-speed right-hander before you get onto the first real fast bit there as Soriano gets aggressive, already getting close and flirting with the walls, but not quite kissing them just yet. That's part of the difficulty here at Singapore, like Jeddah, like other street circuits that we go to in GPVWC. The walls are so close. If you make one single error, it's curtains, it's over, because you met the barrier and you're down and out. But it looks strong so far from Soriano. Fastest Sector 1, David Fidok, 26.290, the double Super League champion, after a decent run last time out in his first big return back into GPVWC Superlights. Of course, sitting most of the season out looking quick early doors here in Singapore. Will it be a return back to the top for Fidok, as Jakab now goes purple Sector 2, but he's one of the people that were out first on their laps. We'll wait to see where everybody else goes. 36.8 for the Hungarian. Through the middle sector, of course, new last sector here now in Singapore. Has been like this for a couple of years. Speeds up the track ever so slightly. Let's carry on around with Soriano as you go through this double apex left-hander to end the lap. It's really sketchy through there. Soriano goes second, 4/10 off. Jakab at the top of the timing sheets. Fidok, bit of a disappointing middle sector there, so he's also 4/10 off. Pushka now up into second place. Amari Watson goes 7th, as the rest of the drivers now coming in to fill in their slots. It looks like we've got a few drivers haven't quite made it out onto the circuit yet. Not seeing Patrick Magnussen or Cass Rietveld out on track at the moment. Pushka inheriting that second place from Soriano with a very nice lap. Can anybody else challenge and get up there early doors? Don't think they will do so. So then, Amir, as we get the banker laps done and dusted, it's the man who needed to bring the heat today to stay in the championship contention, Norbert Jakab, who sits on provisional pole by 0.3 of a second. A mighty lap time there, but crucially, Soriano is in P3.
Yeah, really hit the ground running, and very clear for that 0.3 off from the drag racing of Pushka. Soriano and Harry Smith are still amongst the lines of similar pace to each other, 3rd and 5th, but Jakab has absolutely smoked his teammate in Murno, who's usually along the lines of the pace with Jakab. He'll be over for 0.4 off, but that's pretty good, because if Jakab can do that, then we can see maybe Murno improve as well, because I think what's going to really provide the advantage to Jakab during the race is if his teammate Murno's there, and he has been in the case throughout all the races that he has been Jakab's teammate. So we can expect to see the Brazilian to push up in more places.
Well, you'd expect so anyway. Drivers will be coming back into the pit lane and getting a fresh set of rubber before heading back out. That's an interesting line there. Scott Mitchell, Mom, got his first points of the season last time out in Mexico with a great drive. As Luke Mitchell finishing on the podium as well, his teammate with a fantastic effort to get up there. So yeah, great to see that from the Kings Racing squad as they continue to push onwards and push quickly. Tom van der Voort, 1.3 off in the middle sector for the Dutchman, so a little bit of time to be found there. But first sector, not too bad. We know the Drake Racing car maybe not quite up to the scratch of those at the top, even though Pushka has stuck it into P2. But Pushka, it must be said, is also a mighty fine driver. Let's see what van der Voort can do as he comes to the line, as he kicks up a huge spray of sparks as he gets over the curb. Does stick it into 18th, a 1:30.220.
Very good lap actually from Tom, I must say, to push himself just ever so close to the edge of that point scoring position in the top 15. He's done very good in the street circuit actually. He did score points over in Jazz, so could be another change of forms from Van der Voort, because he does do really well in circuits like these.
He does seem to favour the more technical, the twisty and tricky tracks that test and tease drivers out there. So let's see, maybe tonight is going to be a good night for Tom van der Voort and Drake Racing, and especially with Pushka up there in P2 for the squad as well. Nobody able to get anywhere near Norbert Jakab's laps though, even with the bank is now out of the way. Magnussen is now starting his first push lap. I think he abandoned his banker. We know that Magnussen probably on raw pace alone, one of the quickest drivers we've got in Superlights over a single lap. And across the season, he's been putting a lot of work in on his race pace and especially his tyre management as well. That's been one of the weakest points in his game across his sim racing career. Starting to get a hold of that now. We've seen flashes of pure brilliance outside of just one lap pace from Magnussen. Magnussen goes P7. That is a very, very solid lap time there from him as he comes now down to slow things down and cool things down. But P7 and P9 for KV86 out there. That's really, really solid from both Magnussen and Amari Watson as well. Your cab is on a lap, but he's 6/10 down in Sector 1, so he's made a mistake somewhere. Wouldn't be surprised if he just pulls straight back into the pits at the end of this.
Yeah, I would agree with you, to be honest, Ross. Just 6/10 off is a bit off, but a chance to regroup, though. Philip Pushka, meanwhile, hoping to try and take the pole position away, is already 200ths quicker than Jakob here. If he could just string it through the final 2 sectors, we could be seeing a new Pole City here.
We could be indeed. Let's see what Pushka has in his locker. The German, a little bit squirrely there into the hairpin, but looking mighty fine at the wheel of the Welsh racing machine. Comes down another 90-degree right-hander. It is a little bit off in sector number 2, 3/10 away. That is about the gap between himself and your cab, so maybe your cab knows something through the middle sector that everybody else doesn't. Let's see though, Pushka into the final chicane before that big double apex left-hander all the way up to the wall for the German. Can he do anything? Can he squeeze into provisional pole? Will he be close enough? No, not quite. And in fact, doesn't even improve on that lap time. That middle sector really letting him down, unfortunately. So he stays where he was, but Pushka purple in sector 1 as Harry Smith abandons that lap. David Krupa 2 greens as he comes to the end of his lap. Let's see where Krupa can go up to P10. Nice lap there from the PZZW driver who's been really impressing over the back end of this season. 6 minutes and 35 left on the clock, Amir. It currently looks like Norby Cab. That banker lap looks like it might be untouchable.
Yeah, Soltero just crossed for the line and he's about 2 thousandths off on Pushka's time, but more importantly has pushed Soriano out of the podium position as well to bring that Brem GP up into P3. So that's a very good lot from Soltero if he has any more improvements. From what we see with Pushka, that seems to be struggling on that second lap, but his setup seems to be much better. So if he goes for another run, then he could displace Pushka of P2.
He could do indeed. Let's see what's going to happen there. Mitchell to the line, second place last time in Mexico, can only manage 13th on that lap for Kings Racing. Bit of a disappointing session so far for Mitchell after taking his maiden Superlights podium a few weeks ago. He will have time to come back, of course, and go again. But yeah, still your cab up the top. Nobody able to get on top of that banker lap time. Pushka will be coming straight back into the pits. Your cab's getting ready to go again. The Hungarian, who's been so mightily impressive this season, and again, can take the title further. It all rests on him with no Ruven Machete here today. He is out of the title picture. There's a 61-point gap between Soriano at the top of the table and Machete in P2. After this round, if you're not within 50 points, you're out of championship contention. With Machete not being here, his title race is done and dusted, but your cab is 70 points back. So if he outscores Soriano by 21 points, he's still in it, and your cab has gone even quicker in Sector 1. A 10th and a quarter up on his own best time. Are we about to witness another genius moment in qualifying in Singapore? The Hungarian, the thing looks on rails. That True North car is absolutely flying, and it's got one of GPVWC's finest behind the wheel as he makes his way into the middle sector. It's so calm and controlled, even on the ragged Jetta gripper. Look how close he is willing to test the walls. Little kick of oversteer as he gets slightly greedy on the throttle, but nothing to concern, nothing to worry about. Comes into the right-hander again. You can see how hard he's pushing the car, moving around occasionally. Does kiss the wall on the outside there, but it's the lightest of touches. There's nothing to worry about there. The car will be absolutely fine. Into the final chicane. Get on the anchors, get it down. Don't take too much curb on the right-hand side. Then just the double apex left to go. It is down in the middle sector, but only marginally. Does your cab go any faster? Yes, he does. It's a 128.014, and it ups his advantage to 0.4 of a second. We are witnessing him here. One of the great GPVWC qualifying sessions here.
Absolutely are one of the finest laps, we must say. Soriano responds, he gets himself up into P2, 2/10 off from Jakob, but it's vitally important that he just needed to make an improvement, and he has done so here in vital circumstances.
Wow. I mean, it's a great lap from Soriano, but 3 minutes 33 left on the clock. There will be time to go again as Federico Russo jumps up to P8 from P9. I mean, 0.3 of a second in sim racing terms, it's light years. That is a huge advantage to have, and it's a true north. 1-3 as well. Cass Rietveld gets it wrong in the Brem GP car, but stays out of the wall. He will have time to make it back to the pits, bolt on a fresh set of rubber, and go again. Of course, the rule, as it always has been in GPVWC, if you press escape and go back to the pit lane, of course in our Factor 2 the escape key teleports you back to pit lane. If you do that in qualifying or the race, as Frank Hamming jumps to P12, that is classed as a DNF from the session. But don't worry, you're allowed to do it as much as you want in practice and in the warm-up as well, which will be following this qualifying session. 2:45 left on the clock. Amir, can you see anybody getting anywhere near Norbert Jakob, or is the pole position, maybe it's already decided?
Oh, that's a very good question. It's really hard to do so, especially what we've seen from the lap that Jakob has done. I think the only one that can maybe improve it is Jakob, but don't count out on Soriano and Murno just yet. There's still a few minutes left to go. But the thing is, though, compared to those two and Jakob, is that they haven't really been anywhere close, within a 10th or so. So it seems Jakob has really got this down to a T. And honestly, this is probably one of the best qualifying performances we've seen here in the Superlights, especially when you consider the championship implications this has.
Absolutely. Good to see that Davide Zanini, the Italian Panini, making his first Superlight start in 2025. A stalwart from last year. Great to see him back out there on the grid this evening here in Singapore. Big twitch at the final corner, but keeps his cool. But it does mean he doesn't jump up any places, albeit improving his time. Stays in P25. Do have the full 30 out there in qualifying. James Knox with a huge impact rear first into the barrier at the final corner. And his session is going to be done and done. The Fusion Racing in pieces. That was a big one. But straight back to the pit lane. P15 will be hoping nobody is able to jump him. It's getting to that point, Amir, where we're getting to the dying end of qualifying. People are seeing the times, the ridiculous times that we're getting, and know they're having to find something extra, just overstepping the mark and making mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. Singapore is one of those, if you really push it to, to places where it don't really even exist. And we have seen that with James Knox now, who did very good in the top 15 now, but because he's retired, then he's not able to improve any more further as the track gets better. Seeing though with Oscar Soltero exiting out from that hairpin, can he do any more to get a personal best and push himself even further than what he has done so?
We'll have to wait and see. We've also lost Scott Mitchell-Marm and Frank Hamming, also Daniel Scott. Maybe they had an incident or not come out for a final lap, so they will not be improving. Soltero, yellow and big time yellow in the middle sector. 2.5 tenths down on his personal best through there. What can the Brem GP driver do? A race winner this season, of course. Race winner last time out, of course. Soltero comes to the line, goes second. Wow, what a final sector from Oscar Soltero. That was unbelievable through there. Yellow in the middle and goes second, yes, by a 1,000th ahead of Soriano, but that was unbelievable as the checkered flag will wave in 6 seconds time. Harry Smith in the Sister Netrex car. What can the Briton do as he makes his way through the final few corners? Checkered flag now does wave. Has anybody got anything in their back locker? Smith comes through the final turn. Is it an improvement? Will he jump up from 7th? No, he stays put, but does improve his time. Jakob is on a final lap, as is Soriano. Jakob does not improve in sector number 1. Murno goes personal best in sector number 1, though. Soriano's just gone quickest in sector number 1. We're talking fine margins here. It's a 26.259 to go purple for the Spaniard. The Hungarian at the top of the timing sheet was yellow with a 26.288. We could be going to the death here, Amir. Lucas Murno, I don't think is going to improve. He was down in the middle sector as he comes to the final corner. Does the Brazilian have anything left? No, I don't believe so. He does not. He stays P4, but the battle for pole is still on because both Jakob and Soriano are on big laps, and Jakob's gone purple in sector 2.
Just the final 2 corners left. We have seen how risky that is. What can Norbert Jakob put to the table here? Is it going to be any more of an improvement?
Yes, it is, ever so slightly. We're talking a few hundredths of a second. Big down though for Soriano in Sector 2. Needs to find something special as he nearly kisses the wall. The championship leader, can he tee himself off perfectly? To the line goes Soriano, and he does not improve. He was jumped by Soltero and Pushka at the death. Jose Soriano will start from 4th place. It's more than enough in the championship picture, but the racer inside of him will be disappointed. But with that all being said, Norbert Jakab, a 1:28.001, one of the finest qualifying performances you will ever see in GPVWC. The man who got his start in R Factor 2 in endurance racing has turned it on over a single lap and dominated the entire session. It's Jakab who starts from pole for True North Motorsport, and alongside him, Philip Pushka, a former Super League champion, of course, but still winless this season. Oscar Soltero slides into P3, your race winner last time out in Mexico. Alongside him, champion potentially elect Jose Soriano in P4. Reminder, if Soriano finishes 11th or above during this race, regardless of what anybody else does, he is your 2025 champion. Lucas Murno, the Brazilian from P5, with David Feidock, very solid effort, with only his 2nd start post his Superlights return. P6 for the double Super League champion. Harry Smith is P7 with Federico Russo. Great job to slide that Alpha Delta car into P8. Luke Mitchell was P9, and it's Patrick Magnussen, the Icelandic driver, rounding out your top 10 here, some 6.5 tenths away from the pole time. Robin Merling is 11th with David Krupa. He'll be disappointed with that P12. Scott Mitchell-Marm and Frank Hamming there on row number 7, with Amari Watson P15, James Knox is 16th. We saw him have that huge crash earlier on. Istvan Single starts 17th, with Mirko Lucchini in P18. Maxime Bulio is 19. Great to have Maxime back after a couple of weeks away. Been drinking Superbock in the sun somewhere. And Daniel Scott starts in P20. And then our final 10 drivers for this one, it's Alexander Ragotsa, P21. Tom van der Voort is P22. Koroshavin, the Ukrainian, is 23rd, with 24th, Michelle Galka. Davide Zanini, the Italian Panini, starts in 25th place, alongside Chris Gitzoff. Wesley Stefano is 27th, with Purgis Merriman P28. Mike Quint is 29th, and Cass Rietveld, our final driver on the grid, did not set a lap time in qualifying. And I've also seen that Mike Quint was 17.5 seconds off of the pole position time. I don't quite think that was a good attempt there, Amir, but you know, I'm sure it'll be fine for the race.
I think if there's anything to go by from Katz Riefeld's incident or from James Knox's massive crash in that final 2 corners, I think we can expect to see a race full of attrition here at Singapore with 51 laps, and going to see drivers push their absolute limits here to get those very vital final points to take advantage of what is officially the final street circuit of the season. It's going to be a wild one, I must say, Ross.
We'll have to wait and see, but what a qualifying session we have just had. If you've just joined us, go back and watch it. It was unbelievable. We've got Philip Pushka, who I've heard has a fever at the moment, stuck at P2. Holbert Jakab with one of the performances of the century, or one of the performances of all time in sim racing, quite frankly, to stick it on pole by nearly 0.3 of a second. Wow, wow, just wow. But you are joining us for round 14 out of 16 of the 2025 GPVWC Superlights Championship, and on an evening where Jose Soriano could well be wrapping up the title. 51 laps await us around the Marina Bay Street Circuit, and if you're new to GPVWC, if you're new to sim racing, first of all, hope you're enjoying the fun. Go down to the links in the description, the Discord and the website, find out how we work, get involved yourself. Second of all, Marina Bay in sim racing, it's always unbelievable, because you see in modern racing cars where Marina Bay, everything's too big and too fat and too heavy, and sometimes it's a bit chaotic, but most of the time it's really, really dull. Marina Bay is one of those circuits that just translates unbelievably well into sim, and it's just chaos and it's brilliant racing. And well, just buckle yourselves in. We've got 10 minutes of warm up before that, but Amir, this is set to be incredible tonight.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I tried to do a bit of the maths here in qualifying. If the qualifying results to stay the way it does translates into race results, then the gap between Norbert Jakob and Soriano will go down to 58 points heading into the final 2 rounds. So that's still not going to be enough for Norbert Jakob to keep that championship alive to Jose Soriano. So he effectively needs Jose Soriano to drop down even further in order to have like any chance of continuing through. I think he has to finish 9th or so if he wants to start where he is, but yeah, that's sort of the implications and the real need to try and get as much as you possibly can. So the thing about Norbert Jakob is he's done all that he possibly can to get pole position, and his best chance now is to just put on the best strategy, which is probably going to be a 2-stopper, and just control the lead from here. It's going to be easier said than done, but Jose Soriano, meanwhile, he doesn't really need to push that much. He doesn't even need to continue through his podium streak in order to clinch the championship here, Ross.
Absolutely, it's all to play for Soriano. He has all of the cards. Before we get on to what we do in every warm-up session and talk about one of our teams, just a quick note on the strategy front, because I realise I haven't actually mentioned it yet. It is the softest compound of tyres available for our drivers tonight. C5s being the hards, C4s being the mediums, well, C5s being the soft, should I say, C4s being the mediums, C3s being the hards. Exactly the same as since Hungary. So everyone's been running on the same compounds for quite a while now. They should be very used to how they wear and tear. And as you said, Amir, expecting a 2-stopper here tonight over 51 laps. 3-stopper is potentially viable if you want to throw the alternate strategy out there. I think maybe if we're going to be seeing that out of anyone, it will probably be from like about 10th to 15th place. Those guys maybe would try something different to try and gain a few places on the 3-stopper, but I think most drivers will be sticking to the 2. Now then, let's talk about a team, and well, it's the team that you can kind of see their name on the back of that rear wing there. This week we are talking about the amazing Brem GP squad. Now, Brem GP, this year is actually their first year of GPVWC, but this is a team that is very, very well established within the world of sim racing and within the world of R-Factor 2. They've been around dominating other championships for years and years and years. And it was very much a bit of a shock when we were at GPV Day last year in Warsaw. We'd all done our karting. I'd finished 7th because I was massive. And we're all sat around doing the award ceremony. And then obviously Will Panisi, our administrator here at GPV, he pulls up the big screen with the teams list for next season. And you notice there's a blank spot in Superlights, and he presses the button, Brem GP appears. What a moment in history that was, because that's how much this team means in sim racing, and them making the jump over here to Superlights is such an incredible honor to have such a big team. And Amir, they've had 3 race wins this season already in their debut GPV season. Of course, one straight out of the gate with Tom Satherley in Australia in a pretty crazy race, it must be said. And then 2 race wins with Oscar Soltero on his GPV debut in Superlights anyway in Canada. And then last time out in Mexico, 2 podiums out there as well for Soltero. Brem GP, a very, very strong team. Again, they've been around and done everything there is to do in sim racing. And their first attempt at GPVWC Superlights, it's gone incredibly well. 3 race wins and 2 extra podiums outside of that, and currently 4th place in the Constructors' Championship. It's just unfortunate that Cass Rietvels had so many DNFs for a variety of reasons. Without those, they could maybe be fighting for the Constructors' title. So, looking forward to next year, if Brem GP is still in Superlights, Amir, you've got to be thinking, if this is their learning year and they're this good already, next year they could be very, very scary.
Yeah, honestly, it's a very good point to mention, because I have very fond memories back in my first GPVWC career ladder race with seeing Tom Satherley just fend off from Philip Pushka, that has been the closest he's been to a race win in the Superlights at that very first race, just not quite close to overtaking Tom Satherley. But as you've said, it being a learning year, it's always going to be a big learning curve from being in the league as high as the Superlights. As you mentioned before, Brem GP has gotten a lot of history in sim racing, particularly and especially to open wheel Yeah, so expected them to do good was, I don't think, it a surprise to much analysis, but to get 3 race wins in honestly their debut season, the Superlights, which is really, really hard to be honest, is honestly nothing short of a miracle. Tom Savely has always been doing very, very good from the appearances that he has done. As you mentioned, Cass Rietveld, he does quite struggle for a lot, but the times whenever he completes for the race, he always gets 3 points, and he's always in point scoring position well within around the top 10 or so in some races, and then a bit of a struggle for the others. But it was really whenever they acquired Soltero in that second half of the season that they've really started to see that what Tom Savely had started, that Soltero continued on through, and he's always been a very, very good driver. And as you mentioned before, Brem GP has just been, you know, fantastic for his debut season, and I do feel like they will continue on through the Superlights next season, especially since their sister team, I think, might be on the verge of promoting to the Super League as well, along with maybe a couple of other outfits. So for them to stay around, I think the resources will continue on to go for them, and they'll take the Superlights, you know, with both hands and grab it. And you definitely know, given this outfit, that if they're ever given that opportunity next season, we could definitely see some really, really dangerous championship contenders next season.
We very much could be indeed. Of course, we know that our current championship leaders, Networks Grand Prix, who theoretically could wrap up the title here tonight as well, if basically everybody else DNFs and they take a 1-2. But I don't think it's quite realistic, to be honest. We know they're staying in Superlights next year. They're copying Road to Formula and doing 2 years on the bounce. Of course, Road to Formula pretty dominant last year. Alex Laho romping his way to the title, despite strong efforts from his teammate slash team boss Sandeep Singh, it must be said. So that's something to consider, but regardless of where Brem go, if they're in Superlights, if they're in Super League, for a first season in GPVWC, they've done incredibly well, even for a team, a squad of their stature, and the future is very, very bright in GPV circles. With 1 minute and 30 left on the clock, you may have also heard me mentioning GPVWC Day a few moments ago. Of course, it was announced a little while back now. It's the 14th to the 16th of November this year. Of course, the official GPV Day is the 15th. That's when we're going karting at Three Sisters in Wigan, where I'm back there this weekend. I was there the weekend before it got announced. I could basically just camp out there and I'd probably save money on all the fuel mileage. Yeah, karting at Three Sisters, followed by the actual GPVWC event, and then I'm sure Stefan McGreedy is going to lead all of us on a massive night out afterwards. But we're going to Liverpool, of course. If you haven't booked your flight yet, sorted your accommodation out, make sure you do that. Come along for the annual GPV end of season awards, where we celebrate everything, and then just to satisfy Juho Soppinen in the live chat, I will be drinking many beers, just to put it that one. Amir, are you coming GPV Day this year, or are you not able to make it, unfortunately?
No, I am coming. I've got my accommodations sorted, and I'm just trying to get my ferry booked, and I'm looking forward to playing darts with you.
Oh, yes, of course. I forgot about that one as well. Yeah, Friday night when we get there, if you want to come play darts and pool, message me on Discord, because I'm trying to book out the Rileys next to Liverpool Lime Street Station, basically so I can essentially batter Josh Dexter at darts and pool, and then we can just have like a tournament, I guess, and knowing how good he is at darts, it will probably be Owen McGorgy that wins, because I'm pretty terrible. But yes, if you want to come play darts as well, please message me. You are talking, of course, to the University of Manchester Darts Society president. The chairman always brings the vibes on the dartboard. Checkered flag is out though, here in the warm-up in GPVWC Superlights. We are moments away here from getting going for 51 laps around the Marina Bay Street Circuit. And Amir, there's one person we're really thinking about right now, and it is the driver going off of 4th place, Jose Soriano. If he finishes above 11th, he is champion. What do you think is going through the mind of the Spaniard right now? Is there pressure? Is there adrenaline? Is he keeping his cool? Is he nervous? You know, what do drivers do in these situations when they know all they essentially have to do is take the checkered flag in a solid enough place and they are the champion?
Very interesting. It's quite interesting because we have seen Soriano always continue to push on through up to the field and get podium places and race wins. It's always been down to attrition. So the question is, if you were in Soriano's position, Ross or I or anyone here to the viewers, the question is if you want to still continue to give it all your efforts in a track where if you just overstep them ever so slightly, that it could risk your retirement, or do you take it easy and maybe just drop a couple positions, but it doesn't really matter if you lose your podium streak that you continue on since the Nürburgring. If you've just finished in the top 11, which is honestly in the Netrix probably the absolute bare minimum that card can deliver, then Soriano just becomes champion. He doesn't really need to push that hard. But Soriano, I think, is always a driver that always wants to, push as much as he possibly can. If there's a will, there is a way in his eyes, and we can probably see him catch up through to the field, because it's more than just securing the championship in safe ways. It's about giving it his all, and we are going to see that for him. I think it's the same case with Jakob as well. Jakob always sees as an opportunity to try and clinch the championship in any way imaginable, to continue True North's very good performance here in the Superlights. So we're going to see him trying his best to lead for the field as much as he possibly can, even whenever it may slip away from his hands. I don't think either of these drivers are going to give up, and that's what's going to make the Singapore Grand Prix here very interesting here for the Superlights.
Well, we hope so. I mean, your cab, again, I agree. He'll be going all out, because I think he knows championship-wise he does have to as well. Soriano, I don't know. He might play it safe. He might go for it. I guess we'll have to wait and see. I mean, the guy's got 5 wins already this season. It could have been more if he'd had a bit more luck. He's only, out of all of the races he's only finished off the podium 3 times. That was at that late, early start to the season, to the midpoint of the season, where he had those 2 disconnects in Saudi Arabia and Barcelona, and then just, by his standards, a pretty rotten run of form through America, Canada, and Britain, where he was 4th, 7th, and 4th. Every other race, he's either been on the podium or won. The guy's been unbelievable this year. It's his first year of GPVWC, and he's just been phenomenal. Scouted out, of course, by the Netrex team boss, Carlos Martin, who brought him along and was very tight-lipped about it. Carlos obviously had unwavering confidence in him, but never said anything out of the gates. He was never like, oh yeah, I've got this guy, he's going to be magic. He was like, oh yeah, we've got this new guy, we're going to see how it goes. And that was a shrewd move by the Netrex team boss, because Soriano has exploded onto the scene. But again, guys like your cab in their first year of GPVWC, Soltero in their first year of GPVWC. We've got a lot of top drivers on this grid who have jumped straight into this series and just been that good already. It's been pretty hectic. Before we get going on our formation lap here, Amir, do you have any predictions before we jump in?
No.
Really helpful. Thanks very much, Amir Oates, for that one. On our sighting lap here in Singapore, let's have a run through the grid on what could be Championship Day in GPVWC Superlights. It is Polbert. Norbert Jakab starts from the P1 position. Philip Pushka completes the front row. It's Soltero in P3 and Jose Soriano, championship in his sights in P4. Lucas Murno is P5 with David Feilich, a fantastic P6. Harry Smith is 7th. Federico Russo, the Italian, in the Alpha Delta. He starts alongside in P8. Rounding out the top 10, it is Luke Mitchell and Patrick Magnussen. Robin Merling is P11 and David Krupa is only P12. We'll be disappointed with that, especially given his recent run of amazing form. Scott Mitchell-Marm is 13th, with Frank Hamming stepping into the Optimal tonight is P14. Amari Watson starts 15th. James Knox 16th place after that big crash in quali. This Van Singel is P17 with Mirko Lucchini in P18. Maxime Bulio coming back and stopping drinking Superboc to do the real business is P19. It's Daniel Scott in P20. Alexander Agota is P21. Tom van der Voort is P22 for Drake Racing. It's the Ukrainian Dominik Koroshavin in 23rd. Michel Galka lines up alongside in the other gallery 82. Davide Zanini, the Italian Panini, is 25th alongside Chris Gitsov. It's Wesley Stefano, P27. Mike Quint starts in P28. P29 is Cass Rietveld, and Perjus Miram is P30, who must have had a long-standing penalty. I'll just double-check that one, because Perjus was not P30 13 qualifying. Cass Rietveld was 30th because he didn't set a lap. But I'm going to assume that Persius Miram, the last time they made an appearance in GPVWC, yes,
Yep,
they're 10 place grid penalty from Monza. And that was the last time Persius Miram was out there. So that's why Persius Miram starts in last place. Well then, Amir, it's time to get focused, time to settle in. This could be incredible.
It absolutely could. We can, again, we've talked about the championship implications here, but also Filip Puška on the front row. Never had a chance to get his first race win this season. Has a very, very good chance to do so. Oscar Soltero down for behind has always been very, very good in positions like these. And if Jakob and Puška continue to bite, then he could able to benefit from this. And Soriano also down for behind. We're going to see him charge his way up for the field. But at least the good thing with Jakob is Murno is only in 5th place, so it's going to help him assist for that fight up for the field.
Top 21, apart from 17th place Istvan Singal, all starting on soft tyres. Tom van der Voort 22nd down, all on mediums or hards. Persius Miram fills in at the back of the grid. We are ready to go racing under the lights here in Singapore. Is it championship day for P4 Jose Soriano? Can Jakob continue his qualifying dominance during the race? Let's wait and find out. It is go here in Singapore and Superlights. Amazing launch for Soltero from 3rd on the grid. He's straight up past Puška. Jakob almost gets wiped out there by Puška as he gets it wrong. Soriano shoved off wide, trying to avoid the chaos, and will drop down to P5. Murno, the Brazilian, slides on by, but it's all clean there in the background as we make our way through the opening chicane. Now down into turn 4. Maxime Bulio there looking to make up a few places in the Fusion car. Up the top though, it's Jakob that leads from pole. What a getaway though that was, Amir, for Oscar Soltero. He nailed the start.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very good. And Puška gone sideways, has just lost a bit of the momentum. But Soriano in the midst of the all had to take evasive action. Harry Smith allowed to get the position back. But my goodness me, they're continuing fighting back here.
Getting really, really tight out there at the moment. Krupa holding on to position. Omari Watson looking to make a few places. Maybe here goes Merling up the inside of Mitchell Marm. That's a wonderful move there. And he'll get that confirmed. Of course, his first points finish of the season last time out of Mexico. Now up into 14th place. Or Merling's moved up. Mitchell Marm points last time. I'm getting my numbers mixed up. Tom van der Voort. It was an attempt at a block pass. It ended up being side pod to front left. But he will sort of get the position, I believe, ahead of Chris Gitzov. Yes, he will. So up goes Van der Voort, and the Dutchman slides on by. It's all getting a bit elbows out already as we come to complete the end of lap number 1. It is Jakob that leads from the pole. Soltero P2, Puška in P3, Murno P4, Soriano dropping down to 5th after a disappointing start and then scrambling to avoid blocking up Puška and got shoved out wide. But still, it's good enough for the championship. Again, to remind you, Soriano, if he finishes in P11 or above, he is your 2025 champion. He can just play it safe from here.
Yeah, he really can, but he's going to do his best to catch up to the field with Lucas Murno top for ahead. He's going to defend as much as he possibly can, especially when his teammate has that championship implications on his head. But we're going to see if that will ever happen. Harry Smith again, be able to defend from Jose Soriano down from behind and maybe just allow for that gap to develop between himself and Fadok down behind.
Yeah, it's getting aggressive out there at the moment already on lap 2, but the front runners are starting to settle into the rhythm. That is similar to what we saw in Mexico, and looking at the lap times as well, of course. Still early doors in the race, but I know there is a couple of tenths left in it for Jakob. His sector 1 at 28.154. I know he can go faster than that, so Jakob doing what we saw from the front runners in Mexico in early doors, controlling the pace, just keeping everybody behind them ever so slightly. That allows them to save tyres. Of course, with the time model and how it works in R-Factor 2 and in GPVWC, it is actually beneficial to sit behind the driver in front, contrary to what happens in real life, where if you just sit behind a Formula car in real life, it just melts your tyres, you overheat, you lose grip. In GPVWC, it's actually beneficial to stay there. It helps you save tyres. tyres. It's a 134.390 as the fastest lap from Yakab, although Solterra actually goes slightly faster on that lap. But those guys, I'm sure, will be very happy sitting behind him, saving those tyres. With Yakab up the front, he'll be looking to save the tyres by just bringing the pace down a little bit. So maybe early tyre saving here in Singapore. We still have all 30 cars with us so far this evening on lap 3 of 51 here at round 14 of the 2025 GPVWC Superlights season. Does anybody fancy a move, or Amir, as I was saying, do you think as well it's just a patient waiting game at the moment?
Everyone's going to really take the time if they just go at it right now. Oh my goodness me, yellow in Sector T. I wonder who that might be, but oh my goodness me, it's Micah, and that from behind, that's one of the TTF racing cars.
Yeah, that's a big one, Micah. Maybe well and truly out. That's Tom van der Voort with no rear wing. He will be able to make it back to the pit lane, presuming he doesn't bin it on the way back in and get that repaired. What happened though? So this is it's Galker even in front, not Micah. Van der Voort goes to the inside. Oh, and they are just coming together. That's just a racing incident to me, unfortunately. I think that Galker could have anticipated that Van der Voort was maybe a bit there, or there a bit more, but at the same time, Van der Voort wasn't really fully ahead going into the corner, one of them things. And I believe Galker is out of the race, and indeed he is. A real shame there for Michelle Galker, our first retirement of the evening. But that just goes to show me how quickly it can change here in Singapore. You make an innocent little move like that, which is textbook stuff, and suddenly you've got no rear wing, and your rival's out of the race. Amari Watson, fastest lap of the race. Come on now, he is winning tonight, I'm telling you. 133.8 from Amari Watson. Best moment of my life. All joking aside, that is a fantastic lap from Amari Watson, who is a very, very good driver. I know I do like to sometimes take the mick. I do really like the guy. I think he's a brilliant driver. I think he gets unfairly labelled as the unk of the paddock, but that is a very strong lap time early doors. What was I saying anyway? Yeah, Singapore, chaos. Please continue.
Amari Watson's the new championship leader, ladies and gentlemen, according to Ross McIntyre.
Agreed. Yes, 100%.
Yeah, Singapore has always been chaos, as we've just seen. Oh my goodness me, already a first retirement after he said 30 cars already, so that goes to show how much it could change in an instant. But as I was referring to before, up until that instant, drivers are really going to take their time. There's no point going side by side because of the tire degradation going fast. Just better to just wait your turn and just maybe make the overtake, and you want it to make it very, very quick as well. So with the DRS in mind, I think turn 7 will probably be the best one that we can see from these drivers, but also in other series, anywhere could have really gone as long as you use the push to pass mechanism, and we will see that come into play through to today. So that will be another thing to keep in mind for these drivers as well, that using that push to pass management is going to be absolutely crucial here for these drivers.
I mean, yeah, there's lots of punchy acceleration spots here at Singapore. It's very stop-start around a lot of this circuit. And again, there is also a couple of very long straights as well, so that can come into effect. Again, everyone playing the waiting game up in front. Second down to 5th or 6th, or even further back. They're all still pretty much in a train down to about 9th place Federico Russo at the moment. They'll all be very happy sitting where they are because they're saving their tyres in the train. Again, it's just a quirk of the tyre model in GPVWC and R Factor 2. Then your cab knows this, so your cab's then backing off and holding everyone back so he can match their tyre saving. So you get this kind of weird ripple effect. It's similar to what we saw in Mexico 2 weeks ago, where early doors, it's just all kept nice and calm and collected by everybody, which is a bit different from what we normally see in Singapore and GPVWC. Normally, you get to turn 1, somebody forgets what a brake pedal is, basically commits the biggest act of vandalism the world has ever seen, wipes out half the field, and then it's just chaos from there. But this time we're being quite calm and sensible, and I don't like it because it feels weird. Joking aside though, it's very tense at the moment. It's very much a strategy game as it stands. It's just saving your tyres, saving your push pass, maybe saving fuel as well, just keeping it calm and collected. It'll be about between laps 12 to 15, I'd expect, when the tyres do start to drop off for the soft runners, when they start to go, because they go, okay, pit stops are coming up now, I've got to get a shift on. So for now, we'll stay patient, Amir, but when we get to that lap 12 mark, maybe even a little bit earlier, I think that's when it'll all start to kick off.
I think it will. I think it's definitely for the people that go on turn with strategies. We're going to see that really come into play. That's Tom Van der Voort up ahead. But also to mention for as well, you've mentioned about how usually in the lower series they go hit the ground running onto the first lap, but then it just sort of dies down up until the final laps. I think the Superlights is always the inverse. It's always a really big chess game until its final few laps to go, and then suddenly all hell breaks loose. And then, as you've quote unquote vandalism comes into play then here for the Superlights.
Yeah, we've had so many barnstorming finishes this season. Because last season there was a couple of strong finishes. Don't get me wrong, but it was normally by about 3/4 of the race in. You knew who was going to win the race, and it was normally Alex Lahoe, because at the time he wasn't washed. Yellow flag in sector 2. That's Purgis Miram, who's gone for a spin. Looks like the car is A-OK, but yellow flag. Stefano's gone. That's our second DNF of the night. So Stefano and Miram must have come together. What has happened in sector 2? Yeah, so that is Stefano following Miram. Coming down into, that's turn number 5, and no contact there. Purgis runs the liberal take on track limits. Oh, late dive, come together. Oh, and row rear wing for Wesley Stefano. He does try to get going again, so I wonder if he's decided to call it quits or if he's had an issue again, because there is a front wing stuck under his car as well. Yes, the front wing's got stuck under his car. He's gone straight on and then called it a day there. So that's a real shame there for Wesley Stefano, our second DNF of the evening. I mean, as I was saying that, I was talking about, as you said, Amir, it's normally kind of the inverse in Superlights to everything else, where you get a bit more of a calm race start, and then it all gets a bit chaotic at the end of the race, or at least this season anyway. Maybe that's the match, the spark that ignites the bonfire, and suddenly everyone's going to start crashing into each other. Hopefully not, of course, but maybe.
Every race that I've commented in the Superlights, it's always end with some sort of chaos in the final lap. I'm just saying, Ross, I'm just saying.
It always does. It's the best league in the world. It's the second tier of the GPVWC career ladder. It's got the best drivers and the best teams and the best people in it, though, and it's got the best racing as well. So, yeah, anyone of you watching from a Super League, come on down. Bring yourself over. Yeah, show us what you're really made of. You think you're all that because you could survive Super League? Yeah, I'd like to see what Jan Grankvist could do in this field. I'll tell you that much. Well, he'd probably just disappear off the front, though, in Jan Grankvist. But point still stands. Lap 7 of 51 here at Marina Bay. Is that Norby Yakab about to catch a lap driver? I think it is. Is that someone that's been caught in an incident, maybe? Yes, it will be. Yes, and he will have come into the pit lane as well. So that'll be why. So Van der Voort is going to get some blue flags very quickly. That could make it a bit interesting, because of course, even with blue flags, sometimes you get held up with lap drivers. This early in the race, when everyone's playing their tyre management game, that could disrupt everything a little bit, maybe breaks a little bit of that DRS train as well. So this could make things a bit interesting up the top. Maybe people will see that and go, okay, we've got to go now, pit stops are coming up anyway. Who knows?
Now, 4 laps to go, though, so I think if they continue for the way they do, maybe Van der Voort might be out before that pit window happens, but that's still a thing, because if he affects it before the pit window comes open, which I think is going to be the case, then it just depends on how he's going to be lapped, because there's no real big straight that he can let go and let other ones go, so it's just going to be staggered in this field, so it could separate maybe Jakob Soltero, Pushkar, Murno to one corner, and Soriano Smith and Fadok to another, so it's really about perfect timing here.
It certainly is. As it stands, to remind you, Jose Soriano is on course to be your 2025 GPVWC Superlights Champion. P5, even with your cab taking victory, is more than enough for the Spaniard to claim the crown, like it was done so by Alex Lahoe and by others in years gone by as well. A very popular place to win Superlights is Singapore. I don't know why that is. Just a happy coincidence, I suppose. We're going on to lap 9 now. No one from the top guys really thinking about gambling and taking an early pit stop. Again, they're all sat there playing that management game. Very happy, chill, waiting for the right moment. And again, those guys behind your cab, happy to sit there saving those tyres. Your cab up in front, happy to back the pace off to save his own tyres. They will be catching Van der Voort soon, you'd assume. Yellow flag, sector 1. That's going to be down at turn 1, surely. Yeah, Lachini's dropping down the order. Has the Italian gone for a spin? We'll assume so. And yes, he has. Does still have everything on the car, but I'm assuming the Alpha Delta driver went for a little 180 down at turn number 1.
Yeah, I think so as well. If it has been a spin, then that's going to be very costly for the tires. In fact, we're going to see probably him and Perseus Miram be one of the early stoppers, because if you flat spot here in Singapore, it's going to be very, very hard. In fact, just as I said that, Miram is in the pits.
Yeah, so in he comes then. Perseus Miram, of course, a little bit of an issue earlier on with a spin, but he's coming for a set of the hard tyres. That probably won't get him to the end of the race, but will get him most of the distance there. So I'd assume a set of softs to the end, unless he wants to run those quite hard early doors and then go on to the mediums. Miram, of course, standing in for Ruven Machete this evening, who for a very significant portion of this season was the championship leader, but the last 5 races has all kind of unravelled, and we knew he wasn't going to be here tonight for quite some time. But still, it's not the way that you want your championship to end, by not being available for a race and watching your rival run away with it. But still, hoping that Ruven is all good. Perseus, though, does come out of the pits there.
Yeah, he does, and he's going to be in that very, very big lap traffic as well down through turn 2. So hopefully it's going to be pretty okay. I think most of the field is still intact, at least from the top 15 as far as I'm concerned. So that's a bit of a relief to all the front runners. But I think Tom Van der Voort is being caught just a little bit. Still 94 of a second gap between himself to the leader. So just maybe a little bit more, and then could be lapped, we'll see.
We are still running very much off pace. I mean, last lap from your cab, yes, tyres are starting to go at 1:34.159. His best lap is a 1:33.9. Fastest lap of the race so far, I believe it is still Amari Watson. Yes, it is. It's a 1:33.807. So we are still very much in tyre conservation mode here early doors. We're expecting the pit window to open soon. They may be able to take it a little bit further if they fancy, because nobody out of these top drivers in this top train seems to be struggling at all with the tyre level. So we'll wait and see. Everyone keeping temps in check, keeping the rubber at play as we're about to head on to lap 11. Does anybody fancy heading in? Not on this occasion.
I thought Maxime Blue... Oh, no. I was just... I thought Maxime Blue was the one that set the fastest lap, 33.7, but I think you might be right. I was just looking over for the timings.
Let's double check. 33.778 for Bulio, and Amari Watson 33.807. Although Alexander Ragota has gone 33.801. So Alexander Ragota hates me and my dreams of an Amari Watson fastest lap. Of course, it's irrelevant now because we don't do fastest lap points this season anymore. So what's the point anyway? Who even cares about fastest lap? It's GPVWC, it's Singapore, for Christ's sake. Let's move onwards anyway. And apparently Jeffrey Fournier, I've just seen in the live chat, is actually saying that David Krupa has also jumped in and got a 33.360. So we all just missed that one that was 5 tenths quicker than everybody else. Thank you very much, Jeffrey. Hope you're doing well. Come and do a Superlights race, mate. You know you want to. Here we see third place Philip Pushka, the former Super League champion. Very happy holding his own in P3 at the moment. Yellow flag out in sector 2. Who's gone round? Believe it may have been Cass Rietveld. It goes away now. Yep. But yeah, I think he had a bit of a moment because he dropped a place and dropped a few seconds on the timing screen, but he's got going again. That is the main thing, and maintaining position as well in P26. So it looks like no damage to that Brem GP car either. Meanwhile, his teammate Oscar Soltero up in second place. That's a... I mean, surely as the team boss, I mean, Cass Rietveld, he's a very big part of MGP, but surely you've got to be thinking, you know, what can I do to improve? Because I'm letting down the team here if my teammate's in second. Of course, no disrespect to Cass. He's a mighty fine driver and has done so much for the sim racing community, and especially within R Factor 2 across the years. But very much struggling compared to Soltero here this evening.
Yeah, it's always been the case with actually Daniel Scott's one of the first to go into the pits, but Rightfeld has always been again a bit of a struggle, and now we go. We can see Tom Dadefort finally laying on through. In fact, on the straight, which is really beneficial. So that's going to be most of the top 10 cars through unscathed, and they're all going to be stuck into one piece. Rightfeld has always been mixed in comparison to a couple of tracks. Sometimes he does well than others. Another yellow flag in the third, yellow flag in the third sector. So again, just a bit of that hecticness coming into play. Rightfeld's retired.
Wow, Cas Rietveld down and out of the race. That so maybe there must have been damage, or maybe he's made the call to call it there.
As well.
Oh, it's all getting a bit chaotic now at Singapore. We've hit lap 12, which is when we said the pit window was set to open, and suddenly it's all getting a bit mental. Here's what happened to Cas Rietveld, the Brem GP driver. Up to the inside, that all looks kosher to me through turn number 5. Oh, Nan gets on the curb. Oh, it had to happen to someone, didn't it? It happens to someone every time, and then he's lost it on the curb again. Kept it out of the wall on that occasion, but I wonder if there was maybe underlying damage or tyres were cooked, because he's coming to the left-hander, lost it again, and then gone backwards in with a huge impact that's ripped the rear of the car apart. Real shame for Cas Rietveld there. Lucas Murno's come into the pit lane from P3.
Okay, early of the pit stops here from what we've seen up ahead. I think we're seeing Russo, Mulling and Ragosa down from behind following suit. And again, onto the pit boxes. Looks to be over through to the mediums. So is going to look for a medium stint, but we will wait until R-Factor 2 update through its graphics and just make sure it's confirmation. And a very technical pit exit. Going to keep your both four wheels onto the white line. Joins just ahead of Kritz Gitzoff and up into P18. Murno goes. He's got a bit of clean track ahead of him, at least for this lap.
Well, is that an inspired move onto the mediums from Lucas Murno? We'll wait and see what everyone else does. It's certainly an inspired opening set for Ryan Searle in the World Grand Prix. He leads 1-0 against Gerwyn Price in the darts. But here at Singapore, that's right, I'm bringing back what I did last year when I started talking about Champions League games. We're bringing it back, I've decided, because it's the World Grand Prix on a darts. I'm going to leave that one there now. Anyway, that's a big pit stop, though, from Murno, and that's something we've seen time and time again from Lucas Murno. He's not afraid to take that gamble, be first into the box. Even if it's the team's call saying we think it's best for you to come in now, he's happy to agree to it. So we'll wait and see if anyone is going to follow him in on this lap. Yacab looks like he's had a pretty pacey lap, and he did set a purple middle sector. Soltero set purple first sector, but they do stay out. What is clear, though, is these guys are now starting to turn the wick up and push. New fastest lap there from Philip Pushka, 1:33.159, as they continue to make their way around, though. So that tells me, Amir, within the next couple of laps, these guys are going to pit. We see Krupa, Mitchell, Knox all coming in a bit further down the order, so these front runners aren't far away from making the call.
Yep, Fusion both doing that. I think it was let's say they're going to X out through Mitchell, Knox and Krupa. We'll see where they're going to come up for. There is Murno. He's going to be comfortably up ahead. And then down through behind, Gitzoff and Rashford. I think we'll just dump Mitchell, Krupa and company. So that will be them to just have a bit of traffic to worry about when they exit for the pit's not going to be completely alone. But at least I think up ahead that was... I'm not sure who that was. I think that was Perseus Miram, actually. So he'll move out the way. So again, Murno's still in clean traffic, which is very good on his part for the undercut. So I think we might see Jakob, Soltero and Pushka maybe fall on suit. But Jakob, meanwhile, has pulled away from Soltero 1.2 seconds clear. Maybe a bit of the push to pass, maybe.
Yeah, starting to extend the legs and extend the gaps is Norbert Jakob. So yeah, I think we're definitely seeing these guys diving into... Did I say what?
Did you say darting?
Darted. Did I say darting? I may have done if I wasn't paying attention. Into the pits, though, does come the race leader as we go back to the action. Norbert Jakob from the race lead, both True North cars coming in early. Do they know something that we don't? Murno, I think that was a genius move to come in when they did, because he's been in clear air. He's got that advantage, being able to push on the tyres. Also coming in, Harry Smith, David Feidock, Patrick Magnussen, Scott Mitchell-Marm. It's a hive of activity. down in the pit lane, and it looks like softs. We'll wait to get that confirmed, because I'd be surprised if it was softs again. And crucially, your cab comes out in front of his teammate as well. Lucas Murno, I would assume, is going to be playing the role of wingman this evening, knowing that his teammate is still somewhat within the championship fight. And indeed, the Brazilian, while staying in the tracks, does back off and gives his teammate the space, unless I've been mistaken, because they're going to fight. There's no team orders here, and Murno and Yakab are going to bring it to each other. Well, this is a twist, isn't it? This is something I wouldn't have expected at all. But suddenly, these two teammates, one of whom is in a championship fight by the skin of his teeth and needs to maximize everything that he can tonight, and his teammate is going, nah, you're all right, mate. I'm going to try and overtake you. Unbelievable.
That is incredible. I think we're just seeing the compound update. I think they're both onto the same compound, but Jakob has got 2 laps fresher than Murno does behind. But I was really surprised that Murno was going to have an attack through onto turn 7. So it means that they're just going to let them fight. Soltero and Pushka are both going to head into the pits.
In then come Soltero, Pushka. Soriano takes the race lead as this happens. And we wait to see where they're going to be coming out. Also in Hamming and Watson. Single stays out. He'll be taking second place. Mediums there for Philip Pushka. There is Norbert Yakab, who it does look like is still on a set of soft tyres. Although no, he's on the mediums, so that has been updated. In fact, I just can't see because I'm blind, I suppose. So Yakab is on the mediums. That seems to be the common way to go. I'm expecting it to be soft, medium, medium. That'll comfortably make you to the end of the race. So then, Soriano, single, Quint, 1, 2, 3, yet to box. Yakab in the net race lead. There is Soriano up there all alone, nobody else around the championship leader. Is he going for the race win? Is he trying something different? Is he happy on those tyres? And he doesn't really care where he finishes as long as he wraps up the championship. We'll have to wait and see. But right now, the Spaniard is leading here in Singapore and is set to wrap up the 2025 GPVWC Superlights title. Of course, touching wood, pending a disaster, because I don't want the commentators curse the man just yet. So Soriano stays out long, Amir. Looking at it, it looks like the undercut pretty strong around here, so he may be coming out behind the likes of Soltero, Pushka, Harry Smith. He is coming in this lap, presumably a set of mediums. Yeah, but he may even lose out to the likes of Fidok and Magnussen as well, so he could be losing out a couple of serious places here.
Think he might do. It could be the detriment on what company he's going to go for. Initially, it looks to be for the mediums, but again, we'll wait to see update. There's the 2 true norths that have perfected Murno and Jakob's strategy down to a T, and that means that they hold a true north 1-2, which is really, really vitally important. There's Jose Soriano, and yeah, he's quite far off up ahead, and that will be his teammate Harry Smith. In fact, he's effectively in the same position that he is, but instead of being up for the front runners, he's now fallen through with Harry Smith down behind.
Smith not quite close enough to challenge into turn number 4. We'll get the DRS coming down here, and let's see if there's any team orders from Netrex, or if Smith is even close enough to give it a go. I don't think he will be. No, Smith is going to settle for that P8 at the moment, so it's P7 for Soriano. That's net P5. We're still waiting for Single and Quint to box in P1 and 2. There is Philip Pushka, the German, a former Super League champion, still yet to win a race this season. He's had a couple of podiums along the way, a bit of bad luck as well, but the top step, for whatever reason, has eluded a very, very great driver in 2025. It's tonight the night where maybe he finally gets over those demons and stands alone on the top of the podium. It may be the best chance he's had in a little while. Hasn't taken a podium since Canada. Since then, very consistent 4th place finishes, apart from 2 DNFs and 1 5th place. Currently looking P4 net. He's all over the back, though, of race winner last time out, Oscar Soltero. The German looking to bring it to the Spaniard as they come to the final corner and head on to their 18th lap of the race. Single and Quint, meanwhile, looks like they started on the mediums, in fact, so they'll be able to go a little bit further, but Quint, Yakabit and those lot, they're not too far away. There you can see the tyre splits. Most people on the mediums, apart from Knox, Ragota, Bulio as well, a couple of the guys who boxed very early. Philip Pushka then, what do you do in this situation, Amir? Because it looks like the True North guys are starting to pull away at the front of the pack. At the same time, you'll be wanting to try and catch them. Never mind, ignore everything I've just said. That is textbook DRS to the inside of turn 5. Lovely move there. I guess he does want to get a move on. Yellow flag sector 3.
Yep, it's a very big one.
Oh,
wow.
wow.
And that is down at the final corner, similar to what we have seen previously before with Rietveld and Knox already in this Grand Prix. It's claimed another retirement.
That is a big one for the Ukrainian. Let's follow along. I'm assuming it will have lost the rear or clipped the curb or something like that. And yeah, rear just goes on too much inside curb, hard into the wall. No flames, but a lot of black smoke. That's pretty terminal. That's out of the race for Dominic Koroshav, and a real shame, our 4th DNF of the evening. As we go back to the action. So before that happened, what I was trying to say is it's clear to me Philip Pushka, unlike stint number 1, where he was happy just playing the waiting game, stint number 2, the German is clearly much more keen to get a move on.
Yeah, absolutely, and we can just see that with that fantastic overtake on Soltero to get himself through up onto provisional P3 as it stands. On strategy call, Quinton and Single, I think, are just going to stay as much as they possibly can. If Jakob can't make the overtake quick, then it will allow for Pushka to just catch up ever so slightly. 2.5 seconds the gap between himself and Murno. So we're going to see them maybe make an overtake down for turn 7 though. DRS in favour for Jakob and Murno both. If they could both make a move on an overtake, then it's going to be very, very quick. I don't think Quinn has enough to challenge through. Looks back over to the racing line and will deny Murno an overtake up into P3.
Nice stuff there from Norbert Jakob, and Murno unable to make his way through Mike Quint. So losing time now is the Brazilian. He looked like he wanted to take the race to his teammate. This may be throwing a spanner in the works. It is still Istvan Single who leads this race, who, as it gets a bit squirrely out on the racetrack, Single, who in GPV terms has had a pretty rotten season, only 3 entries, 1 13th place finish and 2 DNFs in a row. Granted, the TTF ain't a great car, but Single is a very strong driver, having success in other series. Great to see him up the front. Great to see Lucas Murno getting the move done on Mike Quint as well. Quint, who's been having a quietly very strong back end of the season as they head on through. So now it is a True North net 1-2. Single, Quint still yet to box. Pushka's net P3. Elsewhere, everyone happy to keep it steady. There is Single coming into the pit, so Norbert Jakob will reassume, or was that somebody else? Oh, that was Mike Quinn coming in. I'm just completely blind. Mike Quinn comes in for Lunark. Single still stays out on those medium tyres. He's been on those for 20 odd laps now. Jakob net lead of the race, lap 20 of 51. As it stands championship-wise, Amir, Norbert Jakob is doing absolutely everything in his power to try and take it to the next round, but he needs bad luck to befool Jose Soriano. It's currently not happening. If they finish as they are now, Soriano's champ.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he probably might know that, and maybe the team might know that, which is why I think what we've seen a bit of a battle between Murno and Jakob, that they might continue to fight for the race win. And Murno, with those 2-lap older compounds, knows that he's got such a limited window that it can match his teammate until it goes down off a cliff. Another yellow flag at sector 1. That was Frank Hammond, I think. Oh my, nope, that is Chris Getzoff, spun around on the first sector.
Does well to wait. Chris Getzoff gets it back going once again, even at this level near the very top of sim racing, the 2nd tier of the GPVWC career ladder. You still do get some PMs. People forget what a brake pedal is and forget to wait until the track is clear to rejoin safely. But it's okay, because the disciplinary committee then slaps them on the wrists and gives them the life ban, torture, insert here. Obviously, it's not quite that serious, but good to see that even with that spin, happy to wait there. So Single has now come into the pits, yes. So last of the medium runners who started on the mediums to come in, does box from the race lead. So Istvan Single will expect him to probably be coming out, yeah, about P16, 17-ish maybe. Could be a bit further down. Norbert Jakob, though, does fully inherit the race lead now. So the Hungarian, who's been on rock-solid form over the last couple of weeks, it must be said, continues to push onwards. Again, hasn't had a race win since Belgium, it must be said. Took his first win in Silverstone, no show in Hockenheim, then took the win in Belgium, a DNF in Hungary, a third place in Italy, and then a rotten 14th place last time out where he got caught up in incidents. The form has been good. Norbert Jakob, though, he is looking to take his third race win of the season and get involved in this championship fight as well, or at least take it as far as he can. Philip Puška, though, starting to close in here, Amir. I'm just going to have a quick look at the lap times. Last time was a 133.5 from Jakob. So Jakob has started tyre saving again, to my eyes. Again, he's only got a best lap of a 133.1. The guys behind him have been setting 132s across the race. Puška's still setting 132s, but Jakob, I think, he's happy to back off, keep people behind him, and control this tyre, control the rubber beneath him, and control the race as well.
He's going to prolong those compounds as much as he possibly can. We're going to expect to see Murno one of the first few into the pits, and Puška later. So the fact that Jakob has pit as late as he has done is pretty vital and really important for the Hungarian to, as we mentioned before, keep control through onto that pace. I think Puška may have used either a bit of the push pass or as much for the compound as he possibly can to get up through to this train, because the DRS heading up into turn 7 is pretty vital. So we can see if Oscar Soltero or Soriano down from behind, the two Spaniards able to catch up to this, but Harry Smith doing very well to fend off from P6 with Fadaka and Magnussen behind, because that was going to be very important for Soriano's at least championship bid, so that if he does falter, he does not drop too much from the order. So literally the worst that for Soriano is literally just P5 as it stands, because he's got a very good 3-second gap ahead of P6 that his teammate has been holding on very good. And that's what we've talked about previously, that teammates can play a crucial role in the championship, and it's going to be the same case here in Singapore.
And if he finishes where he is, of course, Soriano is champion. And I think maybe he's realised he doesn't quite have the pace to win this race. He may as well just settle in, hit his marks, and walk away. A very happy man, I can imagine. And of course, clinching the championship like Alex Laho did here last year. Laho did not win that race last year. It was actually Alessandro Maggio who won in Superlights here last year. The one time his internet actually worked and he managed to win. So it just goes to show that when his moronic Italian landlord finally gives him working internet, he is a force to be reckoned with. But for the time being, it's all just, oh god, he's disconnected again, hasn't he? Other winners here at the past in Superlights in Singapore: Fabrizio Gobi in 2023, Shimon Frelich in 2022, 2021 was Michael Ayres, and 2020 Michele Francesconi. So a very big mix of winners here, and some names that you wouldn't expect to see elsewhere. Or should I say that you maybe wouldn't expect to see on the winners list as much as others at other tracks. You know, when you're typically going through and it's like, oh, of course Jan Grankvist won here in this year. Oh, and of course this person, or of course Alex Laho won here last year. Not so much the case here in Singapore. That was Puška very much deep on the inside there. But now, was that a look? Or was that just to get into the cooler air maybe a bit, do some cooling? Let's follow on board with the German here at the wheel of the Welsh drag racing car. I think he was thinking about an overtake a few moments ago, because he's not ducking out here. So that tells me he's not trying to control the engine temps. Locks up the front right a little bit there into the right-hander. Puška, I think, has decided he wants to try and go for the race lead here on lap 23.
That might be a very interesting strategy for the Drake Racing one. I think he was trying to get off the racing line to maybe push Murno off for the racing line. But again, once you're off that racing line, more tyre wear very hard to defend. So Murno and Jakob up ahead are just going to keep their cars planted onto the racing line. And Philip Puška, for his best opportunity to make an overtake, is either going to be either the DRS down through turn 7, or he's going to hope that Murno and Jakob fight, that it's off of a deviation racing line enough that Philip Puška sees the opening and goes for it.
A bit deep into turn 1 though from Puška. He needs to be careful that he doesn't overdrive the car, because here in Singapore, if you overdrive the car, you make one mistake, you're in a wall. That's it. Your day is done as quick as it started. As all looking to the inside, it looked there to me like Murno just left the door open a little bit. Pushka thought about it, and then Murno came back across onto the racing line. Maybe the Brazilian was thinking about a move on his teammate for the race eve. We've now got a 5-car train in the battle for the lead, and at the back of said pack, it is the man who is, as it stands, champion-elect in 2025, Jose Soriano. Now then, for a while we were thinking he doesn't have the pace to win this race, and he was just settling into the rhythm and just happy to hit his marks and finish. As long as he was in the top 11, just finish anywhere, bring it home essentially, Amir. But now, your cab's controlling the pace at the front, he's caught up to the back of this pack. Do you think the Spaniard maybe smells an opportunity? Because I'm sure he would love at least to celebrate the championship victory with a podium or something like that. So maybe does that factor in, or again, maybe he's just going to sit along, follow, see what happens?
He's not going to bite now, I don't think. I think the best chance he is going to take that opportunity and make his way through upper field is probably going to be on the final stint. I think doing it now would be a bit risky to the compound that he has, especially when this one, I think, is projected to be longer than all the others that we're having behind. I think the mediums are going to be, they're going to prolong the mediums as much as they possibly can, which is why Jakob is not really giving 100% or making such rapid lap times, but he's just going to keep it as long as he possibly can. Soriano, Soltero, Pushka, and Murno are all going to do the same, as Smith and Fadoc are in the midst of a battle for P6, so that could be pretty interesting, because if Fadoc does make the move and make it stick, then he has a chance to maybe catch up for up ahead to Soriano if he can, and he actually has done so up into P6, so Harry Smith no longer has that teammate advantage of fending off just yet, and Fadoc will be maybe able to catch up through to Soriano, maybe if there is enough time before the stints end.
David Fidek then moves up a position, only had 4 entries this season. Of course, unfortunately, had to take a break from sim racing due to personal issues after 3 starts earlier on in the year. Made a triumphant return to Superlights last time out at Mexico with a brilliant 6th place finish, and looking to at least repeat that, or maybe move on forward. The double Super League champion, one of the finest to ever do it in GPVWC, bringing his talents to Singapore on a Tuesday night. Can he bridge that gap and make it a 6-way fight for the lead? Will people follow him and make it even more? It's lap 26 here in Singapore. We are halfway through this race at the Marina Bay Street Circuit, and what a fascinating race it has been, full of tension. It's all up in the air. It's all a management kind of affair, but you know, it is all it takes is one little spark, one little moment, one little look, sniff even down the inside, and it's all going to kick off. So we'll wait and see what is yet to unfold over the second half of this race. We've had 4 retirements so far this evening. We've lost Michelle Galco, Wesley Stefano, Cass Rieveld, and Dominic Koroshavin. Apart from that, it has been, by Singapore and quite frankly GPVWC Superlight standards, really, really clean. But again, we're just waiting to see what's going to happen. We're still waiting for the second pit stop window for our front runners. For example, Jakob, he's been on this tyre for 11 laps. His first stint was 14 laps long, was it, for the True North driver? So you'd expect him to be getting to about lap 35, pushing onwards. That should comfortably get him to the end on another set of the mediums, unless maybe somebody has a trick up their sleeve and they're able to pull something that we just didn't expect from out of the blue. But at this point, Amir, you've got Norbert Jakob controlling the race once again. If you're Philip Pushka, if you're Oscar Soltero, if you're Jose Soriano, and you're throwing the championship picture out of the window, what do you do at this point to try and win this race? Are you using push to pass? Are you sitting being patient? Are you on the radio to the team going, okay guys, what can we do strategy-wise to work our way around here?
Bide your time is probably the advice I would give, but I'm not really a racing driver, unlike Carlos Moore that may recommend something else. I hope you're doing well, Carlos, so all my best wishes to you, but I think it'll be very fun for him while he's recovered to see Soriano win the championship here, so I think he'll be pretty ecstatic to feel like that. But again, Singapore's the track where it really, really rewards the opportunists. And as I've mentioned for before, just waiting and then be able to make use of what you possibly can onto that final stint and using up all the push to pass that you possibly can would probably be maybe the best way for it to go. Of course, if it doesn't work, then it's not going to be very, very good, because then you have to, you know, manage it more to make another chance up for again. But I think for Philip Pushka might be a little bit easier, but on the downside is 2 True North cars are separating between himself and the race lead. And Murno, if he's not going able to attack Jakob as we thought we did back over at back over corner 7 whenever he just made a little bit of a contact, then I think it could be Jakob's race to lose. If he's controlling this pace very well and holds on to the tires very well, then that means that if Pushka Soriano uses up the push to pass and the tire compounds to catch up to Jakob, I don't think the DRS heading into turn 7 is even going to be enough to catch up, and we might see that here because Jakob is already just pushing just a little bit more of that gap between himself and his teammate for that buffer.
Well, it may be frustrating for the likes of Pushka, Soltero and Soriano to be in that train. It's certainly frustrating for Ryan Searle at the World Grand Prix after going 1-0 up with a whitewash. He loses 2-1 to go in Price in the opening round. It's also frustrating for St Albans City FC, who, after being relegated last year in the season they should have got promoted, are 2-0 down to Berkhamsted. I can't even win anymore. Sport sucks. Everyone hates me. I give up.
Chat,
but we're still here. We're still here. I'm having my sporting world is falling apart is what's going on here, but we're going to push on here in GPVWC Superlights regardless. Yeah, Norbert Jakob still leads this race from Lucas Murno. It is still a true North 1-2 as it stands, and once again we are seeing that fantastic teammate composition coming into effect here, and they will be gaining on Netrex, of course, in the Constructors' Championship and taking it at the very least down to the next race. True North they have had a 1-2. Have they had a 1-2? No, I'm being blind. They haven't had a 1-2, unfortunately, this season, but they've come very, very close. They've had a 1-3 in Belgium, a 2-3 as well in Saudi Arabia. What a performance it would be for the Canadian mark to get that front or the top 2 places on the podium locked out tonight. Here we see Scott Mitchell-Marmy got his first points of the season last time out in Mexico. Currently on for more as well in P13. He's going to jump up a place though. Federico Russo into the pits. Interesting. That's not what I had.
Earlier pitters. He was the earlier pitters.
He was. You're right.
So he's going to make another one.
Only managed 15 laps though on that set of mediums. Going mediums again. Maybe he knows something we don't. Maybe it's an early box to try and, you know, roll the dice and see what happens. I'm not sure I believe in that one. Daniel Scott's also come in as well. Robin Merling, meanwhile, and Scott Mitchell-Marmy now going wheel to wheel, coming through turn 6 and 7. Look, got a little bit spicy there. There was a little bit of wheel bumping, but it's all calmed down now for the time being. I'm still very confused by that call to come into the pits there. Not just for Daniel Scott, but for Federico Russo as well. But, you know, I'm not engineering tonight, so what do I know?
Yeah, I don't understand it either, because that's effectively a soft stint on a medium compound. So if that would be the case, then if you're going through to the end of the race, then mediums may not be the way to go. Actually, Murno has taken the race lead.
Yeah, Murno's taking the race lead. What's happened there? We got a yellow flag out in Sector 1 as well. Was there maybe contact? No, they're a bit further back. Your cab has either been done by DRS or made a mistake, as we look to see if anyone is dropping down the order, because there was a brief yellow flag, but I can't quite see anybody out of place at the moment. But a switch up the top, and the Brazilian leads here in Singapore on lap 30 of 51 in round 14 of the 2025 GPVWC Superlight season. Only 2 races left to run after this one. Of course, heading to Brazil next time, the traditional end of season bash But no, this year the GPVWC administrators decided to make everybody hate them and put it in Abu Dhabi as the final round instead. Just joking, please don't fire me. So here's what happened. This is the overtake for the lead. We're following Murno, Brazilian in P2. Is it just an opportune move? Oh yeah, just push to pass, gets the run, gets a bit of DRS and goes up the inside. It's nice stuff there into the final chicane. And Murno up into the lead of the race. The Brazilian, a two-time race winner, or a one-time race winner this season, should I say, back at the Brickyard after a 4th place in the race before his GPVWC debut in Spain. Since then, a handful of podiums, but not another race win. How the Brazilian would love to slide onto the top step of the podium again tonight. But you got to be thinking, Amir, as well, surely at this point, Amir's on the radio, or not Amir, Norbert is on the radio, Amir is what I'm trying to say, going, you know, let me back through, I need to win this race to keep, you know, maximise my chances of staying in the championship, unless this is a strategic swap to allow Norbert to tyre save. It could be either or in my eyes.
Or Lucas Murno is on 2-lap older tyres than Jakob is, and he needs to keep ahead of the lead if he wants to maintain a 1-2 strategy, which I think is what True North is trying to aim for. So Jakob is still tyre saving, that's good, but Murno is expected to come into the pits in a couple of laps. So I think that's what they're trying to put their bets on here. It's not about championship implications, it's more about getting a team result 1-2, I think, for True North. Because I think with Soriano in 5th and not budging, I think they're going to lose either way.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. It could get a bit crazy late in the day here in Singapore. The strategy, it's very much that kind of race. Who boxes when, who bites the bullet, who takes the gamble on coming into the pit lane, especially if you're locked into this top 5 with 4 race winners, but then also Philip Puška, a Super League champion as well, who will be desperate to take his first win of the 2025 season. I am sure will the German. He's had 2 second places, a 3rd place, consistent top 5 finishes, but that top step of the podium has eluded him this season. Let's see if he can slide on by. Yellow flag, sector 2, and it's not gone away, and that's because Mirko Lucchini is down and out of the race. A real shame there for the Italian. Let's get a replay, see what has happened now. He's out there running on his own. Does he just get it wrong coming into the left-hander? Yeah, just too much speed, locks the rear into the wall. Day done. Shame.
Yep, slam dunk over to the side, and unfortunately that's where it's going to call quits. 20 laps left so to go. I think we're going to see maybe 5 or so laps left for Murno until he maybe goes into the pits first and switches over back down. Mitchell's one of the first to head into the pits though.
Yeah, interesting, because we are getting people boxing now from the front, well, not maybe the front running pack, but certainly in the top half of the order. And these guys all on very similar strategies as well. Mitchell, that looks to be a set of mediums to take him to the end. Again, R-Factor may not have updated just yet, but he did take that previous set 18 laps. It's about 20 to go to the end, and with the car lighter, it'll be easier on the tyres, a little bit of saving. You should be fine on a set of the mediums, even boxing this early for your final stint. We also had a couple of us diving into the pits as well. Saw Robin Merling, I believe it was, came in. Yes, he did a few moments ago. So a few of the guys further back happy to box. Up the front though, Amir, still holding it steady, still playing the patient game. Whoever boxes first out of this top 5 is going to set off a hive of activity in the pit lane.
They really, really are. I think Murno, as we've seen before, is probably the first one to head into the pits. If Puška Solterra can maybe follow through with Jakob, if they just push for maybe 1 lap more to follow along with him into the pits. And there we go. Murno's the first into the pits there.
In then comes the Brazilian from the race lead. Swap from the team, or he went for the lead of the race. Either way, it could be a dogfight to the end. We're expecting a set of the mediums, Fidok and Magnussen also in behind. And yes, it will be a set of the medium combat attire to take Murno to the end of the race. Similar story for Fidok, similar story for Patrick Magnussen. The Icelandic driver watches those in front go out. Murno emerges in P10, just behind Mike Quinn. And that might be a bit frustrating. I think they would have much preferred him to be in front of Mike Quinn, because then he'd have about 5 seconds of clean air. Maybe the other guys in the top 4 now are going to see that, try and stay out just that little bit longer so they can potentially jump Quinn and avoid losing that time in the dirty air. We'll wait and see. It's 33 out of 51 done here in Singapore. 18 left to go. And, well, Murno, the first out of the top 5 to box, but was it too early? Has he scuppered himself with the traffic?
If he has done so, then that might be a bit of advantage to Soltero and maybe even Soriano if they're going to stay out if Soriano's going to stay out as late as possible can as he did before, then he has a big advantage if the traffic's going to be that much of a momentum changer. So it could end up being in Jose's favor, but it depends if Jakob, Pushka and Soltero are going to have the fall suit. Nope, Jakob is going to fall through what he did the previous stint over and is going to come in a lap earlier than his teammate.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see, but Jakob does come in. Is he going to be able to jump in front of Quinn? Also coming in is Soriano, the potential champion-elect against his now primary championship rival. It's going to be mediums for the Hungarian, mediums for the Spaniard as well as they make their way out of the pit lane. Are they in front of Mike Quinn? It's going to be tight. No, Murno has got through Quinn, and Quinn has got out in front of Norbert Jakob, and now this massively changes things. Frustrating there for Norbert Jakob, who's going to lose out time to his teammate, and in the quest for the race win, it's still on for a True North 1-2. He'll get the DRS at least, be able to fly straight on by. Quinn will not fight it. It's not his race. Jakob now back through, but again, behind his teammate. Yes, his teammates, they swapped. It was Murno coming into the pit lane first. Is this maybe race on? Are we going to swap back before the end of the race? It's anybody's guess.
Yeah, I can't tell. Of course, whenever Soriano's also directly down through behind, and if this is going to be the case, then Pushka and Soltero, not sure if pitting late will be another yellow flag in the third sector. So I hope everything's going to be for okay. But again, Pushka and Soltero just continuing to follow on for their race. Soriano coming through earlier than his first stint has, and Pushka and Soltero are going to be the last pitters on the top 5. So it's going to be a swap of positions in terms of pitting strategy between Soriano, Pushka and Soltero, as they're going to come in, and we're going to see where they come out in relation to that. Mike Quinn being ahead of Soriano and Jakob has allowed for Murno to have a lot of breather room to hold on to the lead.
Yeah, this is going to be really tight coming out of the pit lane. It's going to be, well, it says softs for Pushka, but we'll wait to see if that updates, because that'd be a very bold call. Pushka does emerge just in front of Soltero. Murno and Jakob both through. Krupa is going to be just behind Harry Smith, it looks there. Unlucky. Yellow flags in sector number 3. Is anybody dropping down the order? No, they go away. Harry Smith.
Pushka, Soltero.
Yeah, it's getting really, really tight here, isn't it? So Soriano is now net third ahead of Pushka and Soltero. And looking to try and celebrate this likely championship now, it would seem, with a podium place. Now a yellow flag in Sector 2. What on earth is going on out there? Goes away as quickly as it arrives. We are definitely starting to get a bit crazy. And Philip Pushka, it's on the live timing, or according to my live timing anyway, is on the soft compound tyre. I mean, if he saves, he probably could make it to the end of the race, but that is a very bold call from the German.
That's a very brave strategy, I must say, from Philip. That means that out of all the everyone, he has to be utmost careful about making overtakes, any side-by-side action. I think he knows this might be used to the push pass here. Heading over to the second sector now against Soriano, and reclaims back his position up ahead of Soriano, and that will be net P3 for Philip Pushka, as Murno just overtook Mitchell Mum to reclaim through the lead now, and we're going to see Jakob maybe following suit. Soriano still just up ahead of, I think Soltero is just languishing a bit behind for net 5th, so not quite exactly what the Spaniard has in mind, has lost that position, but Jakob has set the new fastest lap now.
Well then, this is getting very, very interesting. Pushka and Drake Racing with a big gamble. The softs should make the end, but it'll be tight. Jakab and Murno starting to up the pace. When we were at the start of the race and we were all controlling, we were looking at 33s, 33.5, something around that. Norbert Jakab's just slaps in a 31.956, and he's gone purple in Sector 1 again now. Patrick and Magnussen looking to try and get to Van Single in the meanwhile. We'll have the DRS. He'll have to go the long way around, but that's a pretty textbook maneuver. The Icelandic driver gets it confirmed to the inside, but Norbert Jakab is now really on a shift. Philip Pushka will be wanting to clear Mike Quint as quickly as possible. Amir, it's like you said earlier, it's the inverse of everything else. It was all dull and boring, quite frankly, at the start of the race with everyone managing their tyres. Now we've got a race on our hands here at Marina Bay.
It really is, and it comes in for all different directions now. Philip Pushka applying the pressure to Mike Quinn, has to make the overtake even stick, has to use those soft compounds as much as he possibly can, and he's made another textbook overtake, this time on Mike Quinn, with having to worry about Soriano and Solterra behind. Pushka just needs to push as much as he possibly can to catch up. 3.4 seconds the gap between Murno and Jakab as they both trade positions. Jakab now holds on through to the lead.
The Hungarian back to the lead of the race. Soriano just gone purple in Sector 1 as well. Here's a replay of what happened. This is Luke Mitchell. No, we're now going up to Norbert Jakab. Bit of a moment as Fabian tries to sort everything out. Of course, Fabian has been doing a fantastic job all season long on the cameras. And Jakab, yeah, just looks like he just gets the run, gets the push to pass, and that slides on by. Pretty easy overtake on the brakes into the final chicane, and the Hungarian now back into the lead ahead of the Brazilian teammate. And now you're thinking, are True North going to let them fight? Are they saying, no, we're shutting it down now? It's anybody's guess. Soriano now on the move past Philip Pushka. It's 2.7 separating Murno in P2 and Pushka in P3. Soltero late on the brakes with a brilliant move to get through Quint. And now our top five are back to where they were, but they're all a bit spread out, but there is time for those gaps to close.
Brave move from Solterra, and I think absolutely the right call to do to minimize the time loss. That Quint holds on not the same compounds as Solterra has, and that has allowed him to keep on forth. That pressure to Soriano, Philip Pushka doing everything he possibly can on those soft compounds. Again, it's just going to die off very, very quickly, and I don't think he's going to reserve it anytime soon, especially when Jakab and Murno have traded positions. I think Jakab might be trying to pull away from Murno for the time being.
He's certainly trying to break that gap. Jakab has been so excellent this evening, it must be said. It's not a Grand Chelem, of course. He hasn't led every lap this race, but had pole position, led the entirety of qualifying, was quickest in practice as well, and is now leading the race with the fastest lap to boot. It has been a mighty performance from the Hungarian, but his teammate is bringing it right to him. Pushka, the gap's now down to 2.4 on lap 38 of 51. So how long are those soft tyres going to be able to hold on for? Maybe he'll be hoping for the True North guys to start fighting, start holding each other up. In an ideal world, they take each other out and Pushka can slide straight through into the race lead. But I don't think that is going to happen. Both the True North guys, they can race so superbly well, wheel to wheel, and they race respectfully, and especially because it's their teammate as well. Harry Smith, to the meanwhile, to the outside at single, gets it done nice and simple in the Netrex and up into P10 for the English driver.
I think Harry Smith dropped quite a lot. I think that's Amari Watson that we proclaimed earlier in a battle with Robin Mulling for P13. It's going to be very, very close, squeezing each other as much as they possibly can, use as much of the track as they possibly can, and Amari Watson just loses out, and Robin Mulling gets himself up to P13 unless Watson can do anything. No, he's too far off. What a great battle that was for P13.
This is a phenomenal race that we are seeing here. And it's a phenomenal game of darts. Luke Littler leads 1-0 at the Grand Prix against Gian Van Veen. I'm doing it again, baby. I will stop this one day, I promise, but I find it quite amusing. Sorry to the head of GPVWC Media, Toby Davis, when he watches this back. Anyway, back to the racing action. Yeah, Amari Watson, I've been having a very solid race on for some solid points here in the KV86 machine. Can he maybe make it a few more, try and work his way back around Robin Merling? We'll have to wait and see. These guys now about to head on to their 39th lap here this evening. Not close enough though for the look into turn number 1. At the top, it's still half a second that separates Jakab and Murno. Pushka now only 1.5 away. Has he unlocked a wick of pace? His last lap was 0.8 quicker than Jakab, a second quicker than Murno. So is that they've made mistakes, he's found something better, or is he starting to turn the wick up, starting to use that push to pass? Philip Pushka is hungry for his first race win of the season here tonight.
Yeah, it also possibly can be the soft compounds used as much as possibly can, and maybe if he's trying to make that overtake for Murno and Jakab to the race lead, that he's maybe hoping for the push to pass to be used as a defensive measure to hold off from Jakab and Murno as well. I think we had intel, Martin said that Murno has low push to pass, so if Pushka makes the overtake and if he's saving up, then Murno can't really get any higher than third place in that case.
No, it's really, really tight between all of these guys out there. And Pushka, again, my main concern is the tyres. The softs will make the end of the race, of course, but are they going to be comfortable at the end of the race? Maybe the German, the former Super League champion, knows something that we don't, but for the time being, we've now got a three-way fight for the lead. Yeah, he's within DRS, but it is 2 against 1. It's the 2 True Norths against the Drake Racing driver. And you got to think that the engineers will be on the radio to your cab and Murno going, I know we're letting you boys fight for the race and all, but now there's another equation. We need to keep him behind. Securing the 1-2 is far more important than whichever one of you two gets the race win. Lap 40 of 51. We've got 12 to go here in Singapore. This could get really interesting. Look at how much Pushka gains at the entry to the mid-corner. That's where that soft tyre is so strong. It's the entry to the mid-corner. You're just able to carry that little bit more speed in, but it pays huge dividends. And now, even without DRS sections, as Tom van der Voort fastest lap of 31.123, Pushka is right on the back of Lucas Murno. It's taken him half a lap to go from being just within DRS range to inhaling exhaust fumes and gearbox things. This is going to get very intense for the remainder of this race.
Good thing at least for Murno is that he will have the slipstream and the DRS on Norbert Jakab, so that makes overtaking zones 14 and 7 quite complicated. In turn 16 though, as you can see, Jakab trying his best to get as close as he cussing can to his Hungarian teammate through to 16 and 17 to go. And watch Pushka, he's just playing it safe a little bit now for 18 and 19. Also a bit beneficial for the softs, but that dirty air pushes him back ever so slightly. And again, that DRS allows for Murno to keep hold of it. But again, Philip Pushka is giving it his all here for turns 1, 2, and then down over through to 3.
Ooh, nice front wing to left rear. It's not quite the Hamilton special from Philip Pushka, and I don't think that was an intentional closing in either, but this is getting really racy. Surely push to pass from the German on Lucas Murno. Murno will be using it in response to Brazilian defensive to the inside. Pushka though backs out, doesn't fancy risking it at this phase. And again, he's now in the direct slipstream. He will now be saving those soft tyres in the wake of Murno on the mediums. This could have been the most inspired call from Drake Racing. Pushka, brief look to the inside, decides against it. Again, I think for the next 5 or so laps, Pushka will be very happy sitting there in the tracks. Jakab, though, is once again backing everybody off and controlling the pace. The pace is now up in the 33s. Just a few laps ago, we were in the 31s, and Oscar Soltero and Jose Soriano are almost making this a 5-car fight for the lead again, Amir. Any one of these top 5 could be winning the race. Any one of these top 5s could be making a mistake, wiping everybody else out, and Luke Mitchell wins. It's anyone's guess.
It really is anyone's guess. I was really surprised how close Pushka got to Murno back over in turn 14. So close to touching, and yet very precise. There 10 laps left to go remaining. All this fight defending that Murno's done for Pushka has allowed for Soriano and Soltero to follow through on this DRS train now. We're back over to the 5 as it was previously in the previous stint now, and it's all going to come right here in full circle here at the Singapore Grand Prix here.
It's Superlights. There's no other way to describe it. This is GPVWC at its brilliant best under the lights in Marina Bay. And we're going all the way to the checkered flag on lap 42 of 51. 10 to go here in Singapore. Do not scratch your eyes. Do not look away. Don't even blink. We are set up for what may be the best finish, not just of the Superlight season, of any of the classes in GPVWC this year. Forget your Super League, forget your Academy. This is what it's all about. This is the best sim races in the world, going toe-to-toe for 10 laps here in Singapore. Oh, mistake from Murno. The rear slips out, and you can tell how much all of these guys want it. You can tell how much they're all pushing. Your cab needs to win and hope that Soriano finishes 12th or below to take the title to the next round in Brazil. Soriano wants the race win, but is he willing to risk it and throw the championship victory away here in Singapore and make it the third time in a row the Superlights title has been wrapped up here in Singapore? It's anybody's guess, but what we do know is this is fantastic racing.
It really, really is. As you've said, nothing in GPVWC can produce the magic that Superlights does. Out from turn 5 again, Pushka trying his best to find a way to get past Murno, but again with the soft compounds he can't just throw it in and just hope it works. He has to find a way that he knows he can be sure and makes it work. Soriano meanwhile on a harder compound, meanwhile he can have all the pressure and all the tries that he wants against Pushka, and it wouldn't defer him whatsoever because Pushka is the one that has to be worried about it on that soft compound. Heading over down for turn 10 they all go.
This is brilliant, brilliant stuff here. GPVWC, as I said, at its brilliant, brilliant best. And again, it could be any one of these top 5 taking the checkered flag at the end of this one, separated by mere inches through the corners. You can see the accordion effect in full flow, the cars bunching in and then spreading out slightly as they get on the throttle and get accelerating up towards 300 kilometers an hour through some of the sections of this Singapore street circuit. Pushka has got a great run through the final sector, and if he has a good final corner, could be looking at a move maybe into turn 1. He may be too far back, will get the DRS, but Murno benefits from it as well from his teammate. Nobody making a move on this occasion. Maybe on the run out to turn 5. He fancies it. Lap 44 of 51. We are now on. Le Cab again controlling the pace. Last lap from the Hungarian, 33.1. That's 1.5 seconds slower than his best time. Yes, tyre wear now starting to have an effect, but it's clear that Norbert Jakob wants to control the pace. Lucas Murno, wow. How close do you want to get to be taken out? Your teammate, the Brazilian, is getting feisty here under the lights. Man, that was close.
That was extremely, extremely close. Murno just pressed himself on the brakes as much as possible to avoid making contact with Jakob, especially whenever True North as well with this one too is going to help them massively in their team's championship against Soriano and Harry Smith. So this is going to allow them to continue the fight up to the next 2 races with a bit of advantage. I think Murno and Jakob also know this, so it's not just about the drivers' championship that's at hand here, it's also the teams.
There is so much at stake. If it's a 1-2 for True North, then they close in that championship gap at the constructors massively, especially with Harry Smith in the second Netrex car struggling down in 10th place. We are about to head on to lap 45 of 51. We are really in the dying phases of this race here at round 14 of 16 of the 2025 GPVWC Superlights Championship. And we have got 5 drivers locked in a fierce, fierce battle for the race win. Soriano, if he finishes where he is now, will be champion, but you know he wants to win it while being on the top step of the podium. Norbert Jakob has to win and hope Soriano encounters issues to take the title to the next round in Sao Paulo, but you know he wants to, even if it doesn't go his way, wants to go out with a bang in the title race. Then you've got Pushka looking for his his first race win of 2025. The former Super League champion with so much bad luck this season on those soft tyres, waiting patiently. Soltero, Murno looking to add another win to their tally as well. Each of these drivers has something deep down that is burning within them, driving them to fight for this victory. The question is, though, there can only be one. Who will it be?
Again, whenever you said to me, what are my predictions for the start of a race, I said
You said no. You said no.
And this is why no, because all of them have a desire to win here, and it can really go anyone's way here.
It will be fantastic to the end. It may stay exactly like this. We could go finish as we are now, as we take the checkered flag. I would not be complaining, because still, what a tense ending we are getting here. Lap 46 of 51. Murno once again close to his teammate. It's pretty clear True North happy to not run team orders. They want to let their boys race. It's when does someone go? Who goes first? Again, we saw Pushka pushing to get to the back of Murno and Jakab. Then once he's in the slipstream and he can start tyre saving, he has been. He wants those softs to be in the best condition possible as to when it starts to get going. When he needs to get going, he can, and he's got that rubber advantage on his hands. But everyone else is doing the same as well. Everyone's sat there patiently waiting, seeing what their opponents are doing. It's like a game of chess almost. They're just waiting for the first driver to pull the bin and throw the grenade that sets off the all-out war out there on the streets of Singapore. Jakab, though, still leading, still controlling that pace. And when it does start to kick off, Amir, what does Jakab have in his locker as well? Because he's spent most of this race being the driver in front who's had to control that pace to manage his tyres. Will he have anything left? Or is he basically going to be at the mercy of the four drivers behind him?
Good question. I think he must have conserved a bit of the push to pass as he possibly can, but I think the desperation is really going to come into Philip Pushka. If he does make that last attempt to make an overtake onto Murno, then Jakab will at least have a bit of the push to pass again to make a bit of a buffer. He's the one that's been serving more than his teammate in Murno. Murno was one of the first ones going to the pit, so we're going to see his medium compounds conk out first. But Philip Pushka hasn't really been saving much along, and his soft compound is going to have their advantage come to its end very, very soon. So we might see desperation head into the German driver's mindset in the dying stage of the race to try and get anything up, even into P2, to try and try and try. And Soriano and Soltero might know this, so if he's the one that's going to make the first move, they're able to capitalize and benefit much from it.
This is as close as you like. 47 done out of 51 under the lights. Jakab still tensely leading. The pace still there or thereabouts, a little bit quicker than it has been previously. A 33 dead for Jakab, a 33 dead for Murno, a 33 dead for Pushka, a 33 dead for Soriano, a 32.9 for Oscar Soltero. They're all running again, running to the pace that Jakab is setting. He is very much the pace setter. He's controlling the field. But he himself is starting to eke slightly faster and faster with every single turn and every single lap, because he likely knows at some point someone's going to launch something. He'd rather be warm and up to full pace when that happens rather than be caught unawares. We're going to head on to lap 48 in just a short moment's time. It will still be the Hungarian, Norbert Jakab, that leads the way with only a handful to go, searching for his third race win of the season. His teammate just behind him, the winless in 2025, former Super League champion Philip Pushka on the softs in P3. Oscar Soltero searching for his second win of the year in P5, but it's P4 the real focus. It is Jose Soriano who is set to take the 2025 SL2 title in a few moments' time, even if we stay as we do, even if he changes positions, as long as he's above 11th, he stays where he is. Murno now getting aggressive with Pushka. It was a slight mistake from the Brazilian. Pushka's left the door open as a result. Here we go, Amir. I think this is what we were waiting for. Race game on.
That was the opportunity Pushka's been waiting all race long, and it didn't quite pay off. Murno just defended brilliantly, and in fact it almost ended in tears for Pushka as Soriano had a look down side by side, and Pushka managed to back off. But surely that's going to cost a lot of compound to Murno and Pushka, so desperation is sinking in as the race draws to a close here, Ross.
Wow, we were lucky not to have anybody in a wall there in my eyes. Soriano and Soltero ultimately held up. Pushka still there or thereabouts, but now the elbows are out and the gloves are off. We are racing to the checkered flag. We're about to head on to lap 49 of 51. 3 laps left to go here in Singapore. And Pushka now looks like he's ready to get a shift on. Murno also thinking about it. He had to go on the emergency defensive on the previous tour, but does he have enough to go on the offensive against his teammate? These 5 cars have been locked in battle all race long. What an absolute treat, a spectacle we have been rewarded with here tonight. This is why we do what we do. This is why we love what we love, because this is GPVWC racing at its finest. 3 to go, 5 drivers, only 1 winner. Who's it gonna be?
It's anyone's guesses here from these top 5 who is going to win it all. Another yellow sector in the 3rd sector. That might be Mitchell Ma, maybe dropping off. I'm not quite sure. Actually, I think I saw a retirement back here. James Knox is another retirement here from himself, similar to what we've had in qualifying. So again, anyone's guesses to see through the top 5 what it could be. That desperation attempt from Murno though means that those compounds are indefinitely going to run to the end of their lives. So it's anyone's guesses to see who can manage it best. Jakob is very, very hard to bet against, but if Murno can maybe put it down to a T, could maybe get the 2nd race here. Oscar Sotero runs it down for the inside, gets his Spaniard and up to the inside for turn 16. And that's going to be important. Soltero up into P4.
It's still enough for Soriano in the championship picture with 2 to go, but Soltero decided he wants to get a move on. He wants to get a move on now in the Brem GP car, searching for a 2nd win this season. We've been locked into this battle for the last half of the race. In the meanwhile, Luke Mitchell in P6, he also has a train behind him as well. David Fido, Patrick Magnussen, David Krupa, and Harry Smith on the outskirts. They're also in a massive battle, but this is the one for the podium places. This is the one for the win. Soltero on the move. Pushka definitely fancies it. Can he set anything up though? Who's got what push to pass left as well? That's another question we have to be asking, because out of corners here, having that extra boost, that extra power can mean so much. With 1.5 laps left to go, and your cab, I think, is now starting to turn the wick up. The sector 1s are quicker. The sector 2s are set to be quicker. Slight mistake there from Lucas Murno, and now I think he may be having to think about being on the defensive rather than on the offensive, because Pushka is almost in his gearbox.
And Pushka knows that his softs are running very, very slowly down to the end of their life, and he knows this with about 1.5 laps to go. Oscar Soltero with that overtake on Soriano has got a good momentum here to push himself up into the podium and maybe a bit further, as we might see. He's going to just lift off the brakes over a bit more, and a bit of sideways through turn 17 makes it back over to null as they're going to go around for the final corner.
Nice quick hands there from Soltero. White flag, as they say across the pond. 1 more to go. Norbert Jakob, can he hold on? Jose Soriano, meanwhile, needs to hit his mark. Soltero is pushing like a madman. But it is Jose Soriano. Don't forget, he may be P5 at the back of this train now. He is less than 5 kilometers away from the 2025 GPVWC Superlights Championship. Can anybody fancy a move? Pushka, I think, has run out of tyres. Soltero, Amir, to me, seems like he wants it the most out of these guys, but does he have the pace? Is there the opportunity there?
It's going to be remarkable for Soltero in this position if he can get the podium over down for turn 9 through the Singapore sling in turn 10 upcoming now. Murno, I think, has depleted for his tires as much as he possibly can. Soltero absolutely squiggly and manages to save over for 11 down to turn 13. They all go.
This is as tight as you like. Can anybody find anything? Norbert Jakab, the Hungarian, still leads with one final complex to go in a few short moments. And he's managed to extend a little bit of a gap now as well. He may have been saving tyres, saving push to pass for this exact moment. It will be the Hungarian, Norbert Jakab, who will take his third race win of the season. But it is fifth place, who's already weaving, already celebrating. Jose Soriano, in his first year of GPVWC competition, is the king in 2025. The Spaniard reigns supreme as your GPVWC Superlights champion. And what a way to do it as well, with an incredible battle, an incredible race. It may not have been the podium that he wanted, but he showed strength, he showed fortitude, and he showed why he is deservedly on top. As I believe that's Lucas Murno who rips his car into a million pieces on the inside wall. It is Jose Soriano who makes it the third Superlights champion to be crowned in a row in Singapore, and who is on top in 2025. No one knew his name coming into this season, but everyone knows it now. What a performance, what a man, what a season. You are looking at a history maker. Jose Soriano is on top this year.
And this is by far his best street race result as well, and a car that was very, very well designed for it. That Netrix has delivered 5 race wins this season in his GPVWC debut, and what a performance, we must say, from Jose Soriano. As we mentioned before, an absolute unknown heading in from the crowd of GPVWC, and now he exits out through the season as champion. And what a way to do it in style in what has honestly been one of his hardest moments to try and keep hold up into that top 5, and he's managed to do it absolutely spectacularly.
As indeed, what a performance and what a season he has had. The Spaniard with a P5 is our champion after a fantastic year. In terms of this race though, as we all take a step back and breathe after a very intense last few minutes. It is Winbert, Pulbert to Winbert, baby. Norbert Jakab takes his third win of the 2025 season, and it is True North's first 1-2 this year as well, with Lucas Murno in P2. A huge congratulations to the Canadian squad. They managed this race perfectly. Philip Pushka, the softs looked inspired, but it wasn't to be. It's another podium, still winless in 2025 for the former Super League champion, but still a fantastic drive. Oscar Soltero is fourth. Jose Soriano finishes P5 and wraps up the title with a very solid performance. David Fidok, another P6. That's 2 in a row on his return to Superlights the last couple of rounds. Congrats to him. And did get through Luke Mitchell late in the day as well. Mitchell dropping to 7th with Patchko Magnussen, the Icelandic driver, in P8. Harry Smith could only manage P9, unfortunately for him, for Netrex, with David Krupa rounding out the top 10 for PZZW after a disappointing qualifying. It was Mike Quim on the alternate strategy in P11 with Scott Mitchell-Marm. 2nd points finish in a row for that man. Congratulations. I mean, Scott Mitchell-Marm might be the happiest man on the planet right now outside of Jose Soriano. Had a kid, first points finish of the season, a better points finish at the next round. The man's living the dream. It's Amari Watson, who breaks my heart with a 13th place finish. If only he could have been in that 5-way fight for the lead. Federico Russo is 14th, and Robin Merling is our final points finisher. Istvan Singal was P16 with Alexander Ragota 17th, Maxime Bulio 18th, Daniel Scott was 19th, and Frank Hamming in P18. Or P20, should I say. I can't read numbers. And then we'll get our final few drivers out of the way before we get onto our interviews. It's Davide Zanini, the Italian Pilini, making his return to Superlights in P21. Chris Kitsov was 22nd. Tom van der Voort was 23rd. James Knox DNF'd, but is still classified in 24th as he completed more laps than Persis Miram, who is also apparently in 24th according to the graphic. I think R Factor 2 just doesn't know how to handle this situation. It is like a 12-year-old game, guys. Give it some slack. So Persis Miram is actually 25th and finishes behind the DNFing James Knox, who realistically should have been classified. 26th, Mirko Lucchini. Well, actually, all these guys DNF, should I say. Mirko Lucchini, Cora Sharvin, Cass Rietveld, Wesley Stefano, Michel Galka, all unfortunately bowing out of the race. Well, as I've just dropped my headset thing on the floor, so I'm hoping you can still hear me because I got a bit overexcited and threw my headset halfway across the room. Can you still hear me?
We can still hear you, don't worry.
Brilliant stuff. So I haven't broken anything. That's a good start. Let's get on then to our interviews. Before we do, Amir, talk us through that one. Driver of the day, anything you want to say?
I was generally honest. I know we've mentioned before about how Superlights always delivers, but Singapore, as you mentioned before, sometimes can be a bit of it's a street circuit where you really need to pick for your moments, but my God, they delivered. Everyone from Soriano, Jakub, Pushka Soltero, and Murno, they all delivered, and it was honestly such a thrilling race. I think they all really gave it their all. I think we were worried that Soriano might cruise to just below, just ahead of the top 11, and he could just clinch the championship that way. But no, you can tell from all 5 of these drivers, they all wanted to win it. And Norbert Jakub, pole position, fastest lap, race win. That was all that he needed to do to try to at least have any chance of keeping this championship alive. And you can tell that this was one of Jakub's finest drives, to do everything he possibly can to keep it through. And it's just a shame that Soriano did not have the bad luck that he was hoping for in order to keep it through into Lagos. But honestly, it was so thrilling to watch the Hungarian race like that. And I think he honestly gets my driver of the day for that, because it was just a fantastic performance. Watching him drive was honestly such a dream. He also managed to help his teammate through Murno as well whenever they had the alternative pits, and they still did not, with that a little help that they had in the first half of the race, it did not at all change their dynamic heading into the final few laps, because Murno really wanted that second race win, and Norbert Jakub really wanted his third race win. And Jakub, clearly from the chance that he had since the start, completely dominated. And honestly, I think the most important thing is Jakub paced the field perfectly, and yeah, it was just honestly fantastic to watch him drive.
It was a brilliant race from Norbert Jakub, but before we speak to our race winner, we are first going to speak to the man of the moment, Jose Soriano. You are the 2025 GPVWC Superlights champion. Talk us through it. How do you feel?
Wow, this feeling is incredible. Wow, what a season. I would like to thank the Netherlands group for giving me the opportunity to be part of this team. It's incredible. Especially thanks to Alvaro Torres, a friend of mine, former FSR driver, who introduced me to Carlos and Netherlands guys. Wow, this is unbelievable, incredible. The experience has been unforgettable. Yeah.
I mean, you've said it all. You've come into GPVWC, and one season in, and you are champion in one of the most competitive leagues in sim racing. And you know, you've been champion in dominant fashion, and were it not for those disconnects in Saudi Arabia and Spain, you may well have won the championship a lot earlier as well. So a huge congratulations in order, you know, you put your name in the history books and all of that. Talk us through this race though. It got a bit exciting towards the end. It got a bit tense. How was it?
Well, to be honest, I was only focused on finishing the race, and that was the important part today. Although we are fighting for the Constructors' Championship, but it is the most important one for all the people who is involved in this team. So yeah, but turn of guys were incredible tonight. What a pace. It was impossible to catch them. So yeah, it was P5. Harry takes some points as well, so we can still fighting for the championship, the last one.
So are you saying that, you know, it's great and all that you've won the title, but your focus is immediately on getting that Constructors title wrapped up for the team?
Yeah, I know the context. They didn't lost the Constructor Championship last season, the last race, if I remember correctly. So we are focused on winning this. Carlos, I promise this, the championship is ours.
Well, that is awesome stuff. Amir, anything to ask or say to our new 2025 GPVWC Superlights champion, Jose Soriano?
Yeah.
A huge congratulations, I must say, Jose. It's been, I think, from all of us, the commentary booth, and also from Fabian as well as broadcast director, it's been It's honestly been a joy to watch you drive. I think I remember also commentating for one of your race ones as well, and it was such a pleasure to watch you. Upon your debut as well for R Factor 2 to perform really well. Looking back through on your season thus far, I know there's still only 2 races left, and I know for yourself as well it's still ahead, looking to Interlagos and Abu Dhabi for hoping to cement Netrix GP as Superlights Teams Champions as well. But from all the races that we had all the way back in your debut on a podium in Melbourne, what would you say has been your finest memory from this championship?
The most special one was Turkey, because it was the first one, but Monza, probably that's the race where I had better pace. So my 5 victories, I will remember this forever.
Well, we're going to remember it forever as well, because you've put your name in the history books. Jose Soriano, congratulations. You are the 2025 GPVWC Superlights Champion. Congrats.
Thank you, Ross. If you allow me, I'd like to dedicate this championship to the Spanish community I come from. It's F1 Champs. F1 Champs. They watched all my races and I felt their support. So this is a proof that a random and casual driver can show up without previous experience and can perform this way. Thank you, guys. This is for you.
Yeah, we could see they were watching along today and giving you their support in the broadcast chat. And they were with you all of the way. So yeah, a lovely message then. But Jose, again, congratulations. You are our 2025 champion. Thank you.
Thank you. Vamos!
Vamos, Jose Soriano. Great to hear from your new 2025 GPVWC Superlights champion. Now then, let's start on. We've actually got a lot of people waiting for an interview. This is great because it's always like no one ever turns up. We've got a lot of people. Next, I want to speak to our race winner from today, Holbert to Winbert, Norbert Jakab. My word, sunshine, what a performance that was tonight. You were on fire.
Yeah, it was great. And I actually tried to stand up like a minute ago, and it was worse than when I had leg days in the gym. I'm extremely tired, both mentally and physically. Even though I basically didn't do anything the whole race, I was just managing the pace. I think I did it quite well, actually. But yeah, this was another master plan from my amazing team, and I'm really proud of us.
I mean, obviously, an incredible result for the team as well. A 1-2 for you guys. It was, really special. But again, you had an incredible qualifying, an incredible race. It's probably one of the performances of the season, and you did a fantastic job. Unfortunately, it was a bit of a long shot, but the championship's done and dusted now. So for the rest of the season, I guess you're just focusing on just going out there, doing your best, getting some more race wins.
We'll see. I mean, we have 2 races to go, 2 more wins. That would make 5. I think I would equal Jose's race win amount with that one. That would be nice. But yeah, I tried my best. I think you could literally see I tried my best to have any chance with the driver's title. I think I got the fastest lap as well in the race. So yeah, but unfortunately I knew that if somehow electricity stays alive in Spain, then I have no chance, to be honest. Because Jose, I think he's been the most consistent driver on the grid this season, and he completely deserves this championship. So now I focus securing my P2 in the championship against Ruben. But I know that he's brutal. He's really good. So he will definitely make me sweat for that P2 in the drivers' standings.
Absolutely. Talk us through the race. To us, it looked like you were doing a lot of tyre saving, a lot of managing, and just controlling the pace at the front, and just kind of trying to keep everyone behind you almost. Was that stressful? I mean, you said you were very tired, so you were clearly working very hard.
Yeah, so at the beginning of the race, we were unsure what we should do. I was prepared that I would lose the lead because my race starts were horrible throughout the season. And I think I don't actually know who was it. I think it was Philip, who actually almost had a shot on me in turn one. After that, I was just trying to figure out, like, I wanted to implement something similar that I did in Silverstone, like slow down the pack. I was actually experimenting, like, what's the slowest lap time I can go without the drivers behind attacking me? And I was just consistently doing that lap time and only pushing in those corners before the DRS zone. So like turn 4, the middle of sector 2, and then that one corner between the 2 long straights at the beginning of sector 3. I was pushing those corners only, and then I just tried to make a tire delta, so in the final 3-4 laps on the stint I could push flat out. This was basically our plan. I was actually a bit nervous because at one point I lost the lead to Lucas, but we could figure it out within the team, so that was not a real issue. And yeah, in the final stint, we were just trying to manage the pace as well against Philip, because we knew that it's only a matter of time when he will arrive behind us. But yeah, we had a lot of push to pass, especially me, so I could just manage the distance between the 2 True North cars in the straight as well. I think there was only one moment when Philip had a shot on Lucas. But apart from that, it was really well managed. So yeah, I mean, the only thing that made me tired is like, it's a really long lap. It's almost like Monaco, 51 laps. It was, I think, the longest race in the whole season. It was almost 1.5 hours. So yeah, I'm actually glad that it didn't rain, because I think I would have just cried myself.
No, that's very much fair enough. But still, Norbert, an incredible drive tonight. One of the best qualifying sessions we've seen all season, and a brilliant performance as well. A thoroughly deserved 3rd race win of the year. Amir, anything to ask to our race winner tonight?
I mean, no, but that was, I think, honestly, for pole position, fastest lap and race win, I think me and Ross can probably both attest it was one of your finest drives that we've seen in this season. I know the championship seems to be now over for the driver side of things, as Jose Soriano, all the congrats to him, has won the 2025 Superlights Championship. But yours and Murno's pairing through the season has excelled yourself now, including True North's first ever 1-2 this season, has allowed you both to push yourselves up for contention in the team standing. So looking forward ahead to Interlagos and Abu Dhabi, how are you and Murno both feeling for it?
Well, it will be home race for Lucas, so I actually hope he can get a race win. We will try our best against Nutrex. Like, we know that, I mean, like, between us, they sweat too much, like, honestly. But no, without any joking, it will be really tough. I think it's even less than 20 points now, the difference between us, but it's been like a roller coaster whole season. The distance between the teams in the constructors standings. We will try our best. I won't be disappointed if we won't catch them. I think I already performed much better what I expected from myself this season, and also what Carter expected from me this season. So yeah, now I just try to enjoy the remaining 2 races, do my best, and if it turns out to be a constructor's title, then I will be all over the moon.
Well, we'll wait and see. Constructors is still open, but for now, it's a fantastic performance from you, Norbert. Possibly the evening of the season. A brilliant qualifying, a brilliant race, and a well-deserved win. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a nice evening.
You too, my friend. Great to hear there from Norbert Jakab. And, well, again, a fantastic victory from him. We're now going to try and drag his teammate in, who has muted his microphone. So I'm hoping he'll unmute it now that he's in the commentary box. But Lucas Murno, if you could hear us, he has now unmuted himself. Fantastic. Lucas, wow. What a race. 1-2 for the team. I mean, I'm sure you would have preferred to have won that one, but still, a brilliant drive from yourself and a brilliant second place. You must be very, very happy.
Well, finally back to the podium after some struggles in some races, but well, quite happy with the result. The Singapore was a track that benefits more the strategy, and my qualifying was not so good, so I had to improve. Try to think on something on the race pace. I knew I was on similar paces than Jakob, so I had to do a clean air drive since the people ahead was saving their tires to go much longer as possible to use a better performance during the two next stints. And in the end, we decided to stay behind Jakob since he can play a Sainz Norris role here, and it worked. So we can stay in a good gap, and we could save the tires. We could save the good performance in the end. We stayed up there on a good pace and a good pack. So well, quite happy with the result. We did an amazing job with the set as well. I was not expecting nothing since Mexico. I got a strange connect from the game. There was nothing wrong with my internet that day, so just a factor to kick me out. So I think that was a good result. I think I could regain a little bit of my confidence, especially on qualifying, and after some recovery races, being back to the podium is something good and brings me a good perspective for my home race in Brazil. Hopefully you can win there.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, home race advantage next time, so you've got to be feeling confident with that one. We're waiting to see what's going to happen, but I'm sure you'll be hungry for a win there. But yeah, talk us through tonight. Again, you said you were kind of trying to do the whole like Sainz Norris DRS keep in front thing, keep the 1-2, but there was times where you were feeling racy. You led the race for a couple of laps. Do you think if things had gone differently, you could have won tonight?
I don't think so. We have the same pace in the end, and Norbert has the preference. Since he got the most time in the championship, I have less races. As I said in the beginning of when I joined the team, I'm here to help the team, and I stood my word to help. I felt like I could have a good pace ahead, but Norbert was the quickest. I can't say can be so much. More respected more than this, so well, I believe if we can stay like that, would be happy in the end. 1-2, the good result, and let's hope we can stay like this for the next two races to be with a good strong one.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, but I guess at least for the final two races, and especially your home race as well, you're looking to try and finish as strongly as you can.
Yeah, definitely. That was a home race was always something special. So I will try to bring a good result and try to help the team as much as possible to bring something to the end. By the way, want to say congrats to Soriano for the championship, Norbert Jakob again for the pole, fastest lap and the win. So he was dominant there, and in the end. Being in a P2 was the perfect result for the team, so I think they're happy with that.
Absolutely. I mean, anything to ask to second place finisher today, Lucas Murno?
Very good. Congratulations on your, I believe it is your fifth podium here in the Superlights as well, and helped through to Norbert and the team to a 1-2 finish. You've mentioned through your goals about being in your home track, having that advantage that does come in play, and a lot of favour for it to you. But looking back through to your season as a bit of a reflection, having started, I think, back in Saudi Arabia, I think when you made your first ever, no, actually it was Spain, you made your first ever Superlights debut. Did you ever think you'd come to having this fifth pole position under your belt?
Honestly, not really. I think the whole season was something surprising because in the other series I wasn't performing too much, but when I come to the faster car, I go quick. So I think I got a good measure with that. Only qualifying I was struggling a lot to understand the new car in some races, but in race pace I was much more confident, and sure the qualifying is getting better. My race pace got better as well, so I could use this in my favor since some experience to start at the back of the grid and recovering helped that today, and well, experience, getting some experience for us here as well in the GPVWC. Of course, another driver debut is a champion, so I can't say something like that. But well, I think I could bring a good impression at this point.
Well, a brilliant performance tonight nonetheless, and it's a 1-2 for the team as well. Lucas, a brilliant drive. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Great to hear there from second place finisher Lucas Murno. Home race advantage next time for him as well. He'll be looking to try and pick up a win there. Two more drivers left to run in this one. First of all, we're going to finish, or we're going to get in our third place finisher here, Philip Pushka. Philip, well, I mean, it was a brave call on the softs for the final stint, but it seemed to work, and you managed to wrap up a third place, but it was so tight at the end there. Talk us through it.
For me, it was like the only option to get a realistic chance for the podium, because I think I wouldn't have gone for the softs. It would be very difficult to pass so young again. So I think it was the right call in the end, because more than third would have been difficult anyway with one team at the front. So I think it's a good race, as I'm feeling pretty sick at the moment. So I'm pretty happy with third. I think the pace was very good. Yeah, lacking a little bit of quali pace, so pole wasn't really possible. I think P2 was almost better than what I deserved in terms of quali pace. So start was very bad, and the first corner was very bad in terms of flat spotting my tires. So I had a bad flat spot on the front left, which made the first stint very difficult. But in the end, it worked out pretty fine in the result.
Yeah, I mean, still, it could have been a lot worse, I'll say that much. You did well to not crash into anybody at turn one as well, so I'll give you that one. But yeah, it looked really racy there late in the day. Do you think, you could have won that race if things had gone a little bit differently, or do you think, third was the maximum you could achieve tonight?
With pole and good start, yes. Otherwise, very difficult, because once you're behind, and especially with two teammates in front, it's next to impossible to pass them. So I think I was more or less settling for third, saving my tires as much as I could, catching up with them, getting DRS, and I knew from the point on I got DRS, the tires would be fine, and they were fine. I think I could have gone 3 or 4 laps more, so it was good in the end.
It certainly was. Unfortunately, though, that race win still eludes you this season. But it's another podium to the tally, at least. We've got 2 rounds left. Are you feeling confident heading to those? Maybe you can finally get that first race win of the year?
Yeah, I always try, obviously, but I think the car was pretty decent here again. I felt like a few races back, the car wasn't at a point where I was able to confidently push in the race. So getting back to the track of the first race in the season. So I think there's some possibilities ahead of us. Obviously not much with 2 races left, but yeah, we'll go for it.
We'll have to wait and see. Amir, anything to ask to our final podium finisher, Philip Pushka, here tonight?
Well done on your another podium through. I think this is the 5th one through on your season. Has been a long while since made a return through to GPVWC. I know I mentioned before the Superlights champion, Super League champion as well. Previously was under your resume. Still eyeing for that first win. I've still got 2 races through left to go, but this has been for your debut in the Superlights, I believe. So how did you feel heading into the season compared to now in Singapore that you felt you've performed? And do you have any fun moments through the season thus far as the season drawing to a close?
Very satisfied with the season overall, because looking at the last 2 years in Super League, especially last year, was very bad. I was pretty lost and hopeless at the end and back of the grid. So I think considering that, I gained back my fun in driving. I didn't want to give up on GPVWC, so yeah, I'm pretty happy. I think it's good, and obviously you always want to win, but let's get real. I think a podium is very good considering the competitive grid, and being like a second over with a win, I think it's a good day, and especially considering where I was last season in Super League.
Absolutely. Well, another podium for you, Philip, and a very good drive as well, and a late gamble on the softs. It was certainly a move, I'll say that much. Thanks for talking to us, and congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Great to hear from Philip Pushka there. And again, another podium for the former Super League champion. One final interview to go, and we're going to drag him in. David Fidok, on your second race after your return, another solid 6th place finish. And you had some fantastic battles out there as well. Must have been a fun race for you.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, sorry about that. There was a lot of people who had a lot of things to say. I do apologise for just leaving you there for half an hour.
That's all right, I got the cool down for a bit. Yeah, that was a good race. Frustrating first stint with the DRS train and Norbert having a nice Miss Daisy drive in the first few laps. But yeah, it's good fun. Had a good battle with Ari in the middle stint and had a good overtake, which wasn't on stream, but I'm sure you can edit that. It's not live, is it? But yeah, really good race. Yeah, enjoyed that one. Didn't have the pace of the front runners or the tyre wear, sadly, but I think this is maximum we could have done today. So just having fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for anyone who's, if you're watching along and not in the Discord, join the Discord, head to the Superlights chat. You can see David's move on Harry Smith. It is mighty, I'll say that much. But yeah, again, you've done a great job. It's on your second race back after your return. It's another very, very well-earned 6th place for Lunark as well, and yourself. And, you know, you sound like you're having fun, which is always great to hear. 2 races left to go in the season. Are you looking to just kind of keep racking up the solid results? Are you looking maybe to slide onto the podium, maybe to end the year on a high?
It would be nice. Yeah, it would be nice. I don't know if I'm just making sad excuses, but I'm really still trying to get my feel for this car. I'm not enjoying the rear end of this car, and it's affecting my tyre wear as well. So I'm having to drive differently to the way I like to drive. So yeah, setup's a bit different as well to the other guys. They got better tyre wear than me in the team, that is. So yeah, I got 2 weeks now for Brazil. Not a strong track for me. Abu Dhabi's probably my best track at the end of the year. But yeah, like I said, just having fun. Having nice battles on track. Me and Luke had a good teamwork in the last stint there. He was faster at one point, so pulled me along in DRS, and then I did the last few laps to him and protected him from Prix Magnussen. I think he got caught up in a bit in the last lap, but yeah, just trying to enjoy it. If I get a podium, it'd be lovely. It'll be a good reward for Luke for putting up with me this year and being patient with me after all that's happened this year. But yeah, I just want to enjoy the last few races.
That is absolutely fair enough. And, you know, even if you're not quite settled with the car this year, we've got to remember, again, this is only your 5th race this season. Of course, you've had a lot going on, which you mentioned last time in your personal life. And you've had a lot of time away from sim racing in general, not just away from GPVWC. And, you know, again, it's great to have you back performing well. 2026 though, is there a plan in place yet? Are you planning to, after hopefully finishing the season on a high, come back with Fury, or is that a bit too far ahead in the future to think about just yet?
Definitely come back. I don't know about Fury. Yeah, I'll be racing. I've got a few offers in Super League and SL2, so I've got to think about what's best for myself and family. Because if I go Super League, then I'm not just going to sit there pottering around. I want to dedicate properly to it, and that means a lot more testing. So I've got to make sure I've got enough time to do that. If not, I'll do SL2, and obviously not just pot around in SL2, but give it my all in SL2. But yeah, it's kind of funny. I've got teams doing entries for GPV next year, and 2 teams have already put my name on their team list for the entry list. Yeah, so I've got to talk to people now and find out what's going on. So, and the actual team I'm considering racing for, I haven't done nothing yet. So.
Well, maybe some teams trying to force your hand out there, or maybe I'm sure you'll figure that one out, regardless of whether you're here in SL2 or you're up in Super League once again. But yeah, still very solid result again tonight, and still it's great to see you back out there. Back to, consistently good results as well, as we know that you're capable very much so of doing. Amir, anything to say to David Fidok?
Very good. David, again, record your equal best results here for the season as well, similar to what you've done for All Mexico. Have looking over through to 2026 as well. I know it's been a bit of a staggered. Only you've made 5 race appearances, but bar just your season debut in Jeddah, you've scored points on all of them. So how are you feeling with you and Leonard heading over to the final few races?
Definitely feeling a lot more better now than the first few races. I couldn't get, well, not the first few, I missed the first few, didn't I? Whenever I debuted, I think it was Saudi. But yeah, I literally cannot stand the rear of the car. And I ended up just dropping it in quali and race quite a lot. And then it was a back step for family reasons, and so I thought when I come back I'll be even further behind, but the pace is there, even though I'm restricting the setup just to survive. So once I get the feel of the car better, or find a way to adapt my style to this car, then I should have a bit more pace and be a lot more comfortable. But yeah, 2 P6s, was it? Yeah, 2 P6s. So I don't know what to expect the last 2 races. Like I said, I just want to enjoy it and then think about 26.
Well, wait and see. Still another fantastic result for you, David. And again, it's so great having you back, mate. It really is, and we're really happy to see you performing well again. So thanks very much, and a great job tonight.
Thanks. The races is a lot better with me now, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It was boring when you weren't here.
It was dull.
David Fidok, thank you very much for joining us for our final interview of the night. And that about wraps it up a bit. Wow, what a race we've just had, and championships decided as well. Simply superb.
Fantastic. Honestly, really, really, really fantastic. I think it's just been absolutely phenomenal, both in what we've seen in the racing and your darts commentary midway through the race. That was also very, very fantastic as well. Thank you for giving us all that BBC Sport-esque analyst right there as well. I really, really enjoyed it, Ross.
Oh, I thought I'd harken back to last season when I just decided to start reporting on Champions League races in the or Champions League games in the middle of games. Oh my God, Dirk van Dijvenbode, a whitewashed Van Gerwen? Wow. There's a lot of my mates have just thrown their acca up the wall. They're going to be quite annoyed. Yeah, right. So anyway, thank you very much for joining us here for GPVWC Superlights. It's been an absolute pleasure for myself, Amir, Fabian doing a fantastic job on the cameras as well. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time, of course, when we head to Sao Paulo and a home race as well for Norbert Jacob. Keep your eye on that one. The Super League boys will be out there on Thursday night, giving it their all. And to end it all, Menno Klont, one of our managers here in GPVWC, simply put into the Superlights Discord channel, tell me, how does this sound? Lucas Schmidt, Liam Duval, Matthew Williams, Jan Grankvist, Owen McGorgy, Alex Lahoe, Jose Soriano. We'll see you in 2 weeks.